Hello everyone, my name is Caden, and welcome to more Chaos Child. Last time... I don't want to talk about last time. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't want to talk about that. Let's just get into it. 4 days after Yui's death. The autopsy, the police interviews, all that came to an end, and Yui's body was sent in for cremation. Her soul became thin, pure white smoke and soared up into the heavens. Caruso and I stood between the trees at the funeral home and watched it rise. They say crematoriums now use filters and stuff, so they can only give off clean smoke. I'd say something that didn't matter, and Caruso would only half listen. We'd been doing that for a while now. Dad was probably in the room where the family waited for the cremation to finish, holding Yuto in his strong arms the whole time. Yamazoe, Serika, Arimura, and Kazuki were probably watching, but they couldn't do anything. It's strange, you know? I was so sad at first that I couldn't stop crying, but now I'm okay. Now I'm thinking about the cost of the funeral and what to do for a grave. I suppose that makes me a bit heartless, doesn't it? Even as she spoke, she looked thin and frail from her suffering. But there was a light, like gray flame in her eyes. I'd never seen her look like that before. No. There's no one else who can do that stuff but you. Dad looks so out of it these days. There isn't? Yeah. Besides, I'd already heard the muffled sobs that came from Caruso's room late at night. After that, I'd moved back to Alba Dorm from the RV. Caruso, Yuto, Yamazoe, and Dad. All of them were shocked and saddened by Yui's death. If I were to leave them too. I couldn't bear the idea of a lonely Alba Dorm, without me or Yui. And when I was alone, I found myself remembering Yui, and I felt like I was going to go crazy. So I wanted to be with someone I could share my sorrows with. I was about to learn that this was what the family I tried to ban was for, but for now, my head was full of thoughts of finding the person who'd done this to Yui. Takuru. Once the funeral's over, get a little rest. You don't look so good. Neither do you. You haven't gotten any rest either, right? I can't sleep at night. I have all these bad dreams, and I keep waking up. Listen. Caruso tightened her hands into small fists. Just for one night, can I sleep in your room? Huh? Of course not. I wanted to immediately refuse, but she looked so tired and kept telling me that she couldn't sleep by herself, so I had no choice but to silently nod. When nothing was left of Yui but tiny white fragments, we used chopsticks to move her to the urn. Only after she'd lost most of her weight and fit inside the tiny urn did she finally attain a normal death. That was one weight off my shoulders. I didn't want her to stay in that horrible state forever. Yuto was shaking the whole time he moved his sister's ashes into the urn. But his eyes were empty, looking at nothing, and he wasn't screaming or crying. While Yui's classmates and teachers sobbed, he did his work mechanically, with trembling hands. When it was done, he turned his empty eyes once more on what was left of his sister. Yuto. I'll find out who really did this, I promise you. But he said nothing back to me. The funeral ended without incident. Uki and Dad took Yuto back home by taxi. Kurusu and I said our goodbyes to Serika, Arimura, and Kazuki and then head for home. We were walking slowly. I wonder if Yuto's okay. He's got you and Dad. And more than anything, Yamazoe's with him all the time. The loss of Yuto's sister had brought back his PTSD to the point where he was just as bad as he'd been after the earthquake. He'd mostly lost the ability to speak. He'd become extremely afraid of the dark, and sometimes he would go into convulsions. He'd been given special permission to leave the house to attend Yui's funeral, but normally he wasn't even allowed to sleep in his room. Dad had decided to put him up in a room in Alba Clinic. It's strange how it worked out, huh? It was Yamazoe Uki, of all people, who was doing everything she could to take care of him. I felt like the reason we'd saved her and brought her to Alba Dorm was so that she, Yui's old friend, could take care of him in his hour of need. When I told her that, Kurusu looked sad. It's just a coincidence, was all she said. Listen, Takuro. About Uki-chan. What? If you don't mind, could you start calling her by her first name? Huh? I felt that pain in the depths of my chest again. Around 6 months ago, I'd switched from calling her Nono to Kurusu. Looking back, the reason was so stupid that just thinking about it made me mad. But part of me was stubborn, and part of me just felt a little too embarrassed, so I'd missed a chance to switch it back. I knew that sometimes it made Kurusu sad. I don't mind, but would it bother Yamazoe? Uki-chan actually said she liked it whenever people called her by her first name. That she felt like she'd become part of the Alba Dorm's family. But I don't want her to feel like she's just part of the family. I want her to really be part of the family. You know? Kurusu smiled. Probably for the first time today. Alright. You want me to call her Uki and not Yamazoe, right? I can do that. Thanks. I'll tell her that she can call you Takuro too. Yeah. Oh, and then... Then should I... Can I start calling you Nono again? Just I was about to ask her that.
Miyashiro-kun,
Kurusu-san. Yes? Who? We suddenly heard a voice and turned around. Shinjo. Shinjo-san was standing there. He must have felt responsible for what happened because there was no sign of his usual vitality. He mostly stared at the ground. Sorry. I wanted to go to the funeral, but I guess I didn't make it. You don't have to worry about that. You're busy with work, right? The examination at the hospital took longer than I thought. Examination? Ito-kun's. The silence that developed between Kurusu and I shattered in an instant. He's woken up. Let us see him, please. But Shinjo-san shook his head. No, he's still in a coma. Oh, yes. I see. This horrible incident was caused by a most terrifying psychic power. Some form of mind control. Actually, there are two different things that this could be. One is obviously mind control. But when I start thinking about it more, mind control doesn't quite feel like it fits quite right. It didn't feel like there were somebody controlling him. Well, obviously there was something controlling him, but I don't think it was a person. Well, obviously somebody did it to him, but what I'm trying to say is he seemed like he was still himself in a way. But what seems to change was his memories. I don't think he was being mind controlled. I think he had his memories rewritten. Ito was attacked probably by the true culprit of all of this, whoever that is, and they used a special psychic power, one that could rewrite a person's memories, and turned Ito into what he was. But when would this have happened? Was Ito like this the whole game? Or did this only happen, like, within a day of the, incident? His brain showed symptoms that we expected. Swelling? Yeah. His real neocortex is extremely enlarged. Kunosawa-san says it's more severe than anything she's ever seen before. She says it's because he was subject to very strong mind control for such a long time. No, he was being mind controlled, you say? Then he's innocent, right? I didn't want to think that my best friend would kill Yui of his own free will. I wanted to believe that he was someone else's puppet, like Kurusu had said. You're right. There was someone else who was controlling him. That's what I think, at least. There was some hesitation in his voice. Even if that is the truth, how the hell are you going to get the media or the public to believe that? That doesn't change the fact that he did it. You, Kunosawa-san, and I know how powerful mind control can be, so we can say for sure they did nothing wrong. However, the other investigators? No, the prosecution and the judge are likely to see differently. So, of course, so is the rest of the world. Of course, we're considering the possibility of brainwashing based off Kurusu-san's testimony, but none of the investigators are quite sure what to do with it. There's just too much that doesn't make sense, and too much we can't back up with evidence. This all goes way beyond what we normally handle. But we can't start babbling about giggle meaning some psychic powers, can we? Shinjo-san bit his lip. It's the only one reason the rest of the department's starting to question how I'm handling this case. There's a lot of evidence showing up that's not good for Ito-kun either. What do you mean? For instance, do you remember that threatening call that Ito-kun got on your phone after you lost it? What about it? Yeah. Huh? Wait, was that Ito? But how? It was a simple trick. There was an app on his phone that would display a fake call and a fake caller info. It had your name and phone number registered on it. So that was never a psychic power to begin with. That was just a trick. Huh? Oh. So he's been brainwashed for a while then. This wasn't just something that happened recently. He has been brainwashed for a while now. That's so that was it. Why didn't I realize that? I'd known there was a freeware app that could do that. I remembered hearing how you were supposed to use it to end conversations with people you didn't want to talk to or get out of meetings. We found these strange chat logs on his computer. Chat logs? Does the name Ed Lucas mean anything to you? Ed Lucas? What? Oh! Ed Lucas. Here we are, Ami-chan. Apologies for being late. The testament just sprang through Shibuya as expected. Continue the Mars situation, yes. In the target, no issues. There is no sign they know my identity. I'm close enough to kill Miyashiro Takaru at any time. We've seen this text before. Ed Lucas? Who the hell is Ed Lucas? Who's that? Both Kurusu and I looked confused. Neither of us heard of that name before. And what about Ami-chan? Not a clue. Oh, I know that. That's the urban legend. Ami-chan's an urban legend? That was the character I'd snuck into A.H. Tokyo General Hospital to find when I was a kid. Oh! Huh. No, not that one. Logs of those two nicknames chatting were found on Ito-kun's computer. Ed Lucas was Ito-kun's handle. The chat log consisted of a discussion of the murders and lots of detailed observations about you, Miyashiro-kun. It's more than enough for motive. That can't be. But if you can find out who he was chatting with, that's a clue. But Shinjo-san balled his hands in a fist. Of course, I had the cybercrime division look into it. But what they found was that Ami-chan didn't exist. What do you mean? Huh? What do you mean? Ami-chan was also Ito-kun. He was talking to himself. What? What do you mean? But that's impossible. How? I want to know more about what exact power was used on Ito. It wasn't just plain and simple, like, mind control brainwashing. Or maybe it was. I don't know. He seemed to... There was a... When he was attacking Takeru and attacking Yui, he made it sound like he knew about Minamisawa Senri, and that he was doing it about revenge. But Kurusu managed to start making him doubt that, making him realize the truth that that's impossible, which is what caused him to break down and start basically destroying himself, realizing that he'd done something terrible whilst at the same time for zero reason at all. But why did he believe it as truth?
This is Kunosato-san's theory, but she thinks that Ito-kun's mind had already been destroyed by being subject to mind control over an extended period of time.
Jesus.
But since mind control won't be recognized in a court of law, this evidence is extremely damaging. It includes information that only the killer could know.
A new rage was building up within me. What about the other killings then? Whoever did that to you, he had also put Ito's mind under so much stress that it shattered. Damn it all. I kicked a small rock at my feet. The rock collided with a nearby wall and split in two. Shinjo-san, what's going to happen to Ito at this rate? I mean, legally. I don't know. He's a minor, but given what he's accused of... But that would change if the real killer's caught, right? They could listen to charges then.
No, you can't. You just focus on protecting yourself. I'll find the killer.
Shinjo-san must have realized what I was trying to say because he cut me off. Find him. Were you even going to start looking? Even if you do find the killer, what can you do against a gigalomaniac? You haven't been able to do anything so far. That's why Yui and Ito... This wasn't fair. I knew it wasn't fair to him, but I was so frustrated and angry that I couldn't stop myself. Takeru. Shinjo-san's doing everything he can. It's not right to blame him for any of this. I looked at Shinjo-san's face and looked away. He had the same pained look on his face that we'd had a moment ago. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... No, you're absolutely right. I still don't know how to apologize to you. But please, don't put your lives in danger, especially you, Michio-kun. If you were thinking about doing something on November 4th... November 4th. The last new gen killing. Right? Or is it the second to last? No, it is the last one. The Dokyun puzzle. The day of the last new generation madness incident. That means that the killer will do something on that day. Shinjo-san's expression became even more pained.
So that's why. Michiro-kun.
Oh, look, huh? He must have seen how strong my resolve was, because he turned toward Kurusu.
Kurusu-san.
Yes?
It looks like he's not going to listen to me. Can you keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't do anything? I don't want any more victims.
Kurusu quietly nodded. I understand. I'll watch Takeru until the end of November 4th and make sure he doesn't do anything dangerous. Kurusu. Something seemed strange about what she'd said, so I turned to look. But she had already bowed to Shinjo-san and started walking toward Alba Dorm. I can already see I'm gonna hate this one. So we settled on minor indiscretion. That's from the law Tokyo passes, depending... Baron's spit roast for a chicken got. No, I don't even want to read this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even want to read this. This disgusts me.
ざけんなよこいつ
Screw you, assholes. I just stopped myself from smashing the newspaper club's computer monitor. Came very close to depriving Kazuki of her means of playing ESO too. Sarika, Kazuki, and Arimura were watching me in shock from the corner of a room.
何が非実在
Minor
性少女
indiscretion. Fuck you. Yui died so goddamn horribly. So what the fuck are all of you random assholes doing, ganging up on her with what might as well be a second rape? Fuck all of you.
Taku, are you okay?
大丈夫？
Sarika's worried voice brought me back to reality. My hands were red from when I'd slammed them on the desk. Then they stung. They might swell up soon.
ああ
Oh,
みんな
sorry
Come
everyone. I glanced one last time at the ad channel comments and closed the browser.
だから今朝
I
警告
warned you
し
this
たん
morning
ですよ
not to look at that channel for a
後
little
チャンネ
while.
ルはしばらく見ない方がいいって
いや
I was looking for information
路
on the
上に
internet
何
and
か
couldn't
情
help
報が
myself.
ないか探してて
I should never have looked at that nest of self-proclaimed right-siders. They were nothing but idiots being cleverly manipulated by paid professionals.
いや
No,
それを
I guess I used to be
僕も
too.
同じだったのか
I've been one of them too, at least up until Revolving Dead. But as I started to become part of the murders, I began to realize how irresponsible and insensitive the information disseminated on the internet was, and how awful the reality could be. It was karma. I'd once been proud of my status as a right-sider, but now the whole thing felt like a punishment.
もう見ちゃったんなら言っとき
Since
ます
you've
けど
already seen it,
ね
I'll tell you.
伊
Ida
藤先輩
Senpai's
の個人
personal
情報
information is
も
up
出
there
ちゃって
too.
ますよ
They're talking about whether or
連
not
続
he's the
殺人
killer.
犯かどうかって
ほんの少し前
It
は
was only a few days ago that they were all convinced it was me and Misawa
騒いでたく
Sinri.
せに
I stood up and picked up the map we'd pulled off the wall. I put it back on the board. Time to get back to work.
タク
Taku,
どうするんです
what are you going to do?
もう一度
I'm going to look at
これまでの
all the
情報を
information we
チェッ
found
ク
so
して
far and make sure we didn't miss
見落としてい
anything.
ること
There
が
might be
な
a
いか
clue to the
調べ
real
てみる
killer.
そこに真
If
犯
I
人
did
に
that
つ
to
なが
you,
る
I
ヒント
wasn't
があ
letting
るか
them
もし
get
れない
away. I'd find them, and then
それなら
Shall
ク
we
ル
call
ス先
Chris
輩も呼ん
Senpai
でき
then?
ましょうか
いや
no.
あ
She
いつは
said she
生
wanted
徒
us
会
to
の仕事に
and
専
to
念
focus
す
on
るって
helping
言
the
って
school
た
student council. She just wants to
何
keep
で
busy
も
no
いいか
matter
ら
what.
忙しくそうしてないと
Otherwise, she remembers what
ユ
happened
イ
to
のことを
Yui.
思い出してしまう
そうですか
I see.
For some reason, Arimura looked suspicious for a second. It would take a while for me to figure out what her expression meant. At the time, I didn't really want to think of anything.
最初の事件
I wasn't personally involved in the first incident. Don't look or the second and audio bleeds. We can come back to those later.
3番目の事件
We'll start with the third case, Revolving Dead.
ここから
私と初めて会ったの
That's
も
where you met
こ
me,
の時
wasn't
で
it?
したね
あ
Yeah, and I've been wondering if there was
ああの
anything
事
we
件で
missed
何
there.
か見落としそれほど重要じゃない
There's something we haven't talked
放っ
about
ておいたことがあったんだ
because we didn't think it was that important. Do you
覚えてない
remember what it was, Inoue?
尾上
What is it?
The knocking? Why was there knocking at the door? I'm gonna save the game. We don't focus enough on the fact that the... No, we actually already know why the locked door. But they... Shouldn't there be a... Wait. I don't know, actually. Which of these should we... This one? I don't know.
そう
Yeah.
僕と尾上は
You and I were walking through
ラブホ
Levotown
の
in our
中を
school
この
uniforms.
制服で
Normally
歩いてた。
that policeman would have stopped us or taken us in, right?
確かにそうですね
That's right.
尾上がとっさに
I thought that
カップル
Inoue
の
had
ふりを
fooled
し
him
た
by
から
pretending we
ご
were
まかした
couple,
と
but that doesn't make any sense now that I think
よ
about
く
it.
考え壁標の制服
Hekio
が目立つ
uniforms stand out. There was
警
no
官が
way
気
a
づかない
policeman
はず
wouldn't
ないんだ
notice, but we were ignored.
なのに僕ら
At
は
the
その
time,
ま
it
ま
felt
スルー
strange.
された
You're right. Why didn't they stop us? It almost feels like they want us to go in.
考
I
え
think
す
you're
ぎだと
overthinking
思う
things,
けど
Taku.
No. It's almost like they
Yeah.
wanted us. No,
Ima
thinking back, that
omoeba
officer was
okay ka.
probably being mind controlled by the
犯人
killer.
に思考誘導されてたんじゃないだろうか
Oh. How many people are being controlled?
思考誘導
Mind
何のために
control? Why?
です
僕らは
to lead us to the murder scene where Arimura was.
だからなぜ
Oh,
そんな
why?
必要が
それは
I don't know yet. Let's come back to it.
後でもう一度考えてみる。
Real Clear wanted Miyashiro Takaru to see the murder scene. If the goal was to show me a brutal murder scene and lead me to Arimura, then why?
その次の事件では
Next was the murder of
こ
Watabe,
の
the
学
internet
園で
journalist at our
ネット記者の
school.
渡部がこの事件にも
There's something else that seems strange here. I didn't really think of it at the
あ
time,
の
but
時
it
はそ
doesn't
れ
make
ほど
sense
不思議
looking
だと
back.
思ってな。
おかしいって
What doesn't make
何
sense?
が
あの時
Watabe was a
すでに
famous
渡部は有
journalist.
名なネ
Compared
ッ
to
ト記者
him,
だった。
well, I hate to say it, but we're not famous at all. We're just a high school newspaper club.
なのに渡部の方から
Watabe wanted to
僕らと
interview
のディス
us.
カッションを申し込んできたんだ。
それって
That's because you beat him to the punch with the sumo stickers, right? And then there was that whole fuss about plagiarism online, and you came to try and distract them from that.
ネットでそう
Yeah,
だった
that's
よね
right.
ほらな、
See?
やっぱ
It
り変
doesn't
だ。
make sense.
なんで
Why?
有村や尾上は
Neither of you are
それほど
heavy
ヘビーな
internet
ネットユーザ
users,
ーじゃないよな。
ええまあ
Yeah, I guess not.
普通
About average, I guess.
そんな二人でさ
Yet
今
even
み
the
たい
two of you thought that he was trying to distract the internet from his
渡部が自
plagiarism.
分のパクリを、つまり僕らと対
In
談
other
なんかして
words,
も
doing the interview with
渡部の
us
意図は
would have
見
made
え
it
で
obvious what he was
余計に
after,
炎上する
and
だけだ
just make things worse for his public image.
メリ
There
ッ
was
トなんか
nothing in it
こ
for
れもな
him.
いだろ。
あ
Yeah,
確かに。
that's right.
その程度のことは
Watabe was an internet journalist for a long time. There's no way he wouldn't have known that. Someone as clever as him was capable of coming up with fresher information fast and changing the subject. The internet was always hungry for new things to talk about. Give them a few big scoops and they would forget all about it.
Huh?
じゃ
Who
あ
are you trying to say,
どういうこ
Taku?
となのタク
これは
This is just
僕
my
の
idea,
考
but
えなんだけど。
was he being mind controlled as well? Just how many people are being mind controlled then? That's right. He probably didn't even realize this, but I think he was being mind controlled as well.
僕ら、そして
And on the day of the festival, when everyone was watching, he was killed.
殺された。
でも宮代先輩
But Miyashiro senpai,
Love
this is
Holo
the same as with the
Ken
love
もそうですけ
hotel.
ど
I don't understand the motive.
やっ
What
ぱ
did
り
the killer
動
want
機
to
がわ
do?
かりません
Shows
犯人は何？
Takaru. Their motive, huh?
動機か。
Arimura was right. What was the point of making Watabe do that? What was their hidden goal?
わかった。
Alright,
この事
I'll
件
think
に
about
つい
this
て
a
も
little more.
もう少し考えてみる。
I put a note about Watabe up on the board. Was Watabe mind controlled into asking to meet with us? They wanted us to witness death.
ちなみに、
By the way, we all know that the sumo
出てきた
stickers
シー
found
ン
in his body were
み
fakes.
んな偽物の力士。
どうして
Why didn't they use real
本物を使わなか
ones?
ったのかな
それは多分、
Probably because the killer's a
犯
psychic
人の能
too.
力者だからだろ
It would have hurt them as well if they saw them. The sumo stickers, aka the 11th Rorschach, had a terrible effect on the minds of psychics. Using real sumo stickers to kill Watabe would pose a serious risk to them as well. Yeah, it would even hurt the real culprit.
う。犯行現場で犯
If the
人
killer
自
had their
身が
mind
誤って
affected
精
like
神汚
Arimura
染
and
を
I
受けた
did,
りすれば、
they might have been
僕
frozen
や
at the
有
scene.
村と同じよう
Then
に
they wouldn't be able to
身動きが
escape.
取れなくなってしまう。
確かに
Yeah,
怪しい
you're
色を
always
見ると
it's a mess whenever you see those
ひどい
stickers.
ことになるもんね
Arimura nodded several times, frowning.
本当に
I
嫌
really
ですよ
hate those things. It's like these nightmarish delusions just take over your mind, and eventually you stop being sure
悪
what
夢
the
みたい
delusion
な
was
妄想が
reality.
どんどん
そうだな。
You said it. Do
あ
you
の
remember
夜
that
の
night,
こと覚え
Arimura?
てるか？
あの夜
That night,
僕と有村
The
が
night when you and I were attacked by the
Pyrokinesis.
pyrokinetic Haida
ハイダリコ
Rico.
に襲われた時のことだ。あの夜は尾上もいた
You
よ
were there too, right, Onoe? You came to my RV.
のんちゃんの話を聞
that's
い
why
て
I
あ
asked
げ
you
て
to
っ
talk
て
to Nunchan,
お
right?
願いしたとでも私
I went straight home right after that. I don't know what happened
う
then.
ちに帰っちゃ
そうか。
I see.
で
Did
も
you notice
家への
anything on your
帰
way
り道
home?
何かに
Hmm?
何か
What do you
って
mean?
There were suddenly more sumo stickers. We were trying to escape from them, but they were everywhere. We kept walking and walking, but no matter what.
確かに
Yeah, I remember the stickers were all over the place.
ああ
Yeah,
僕は
I wanted to go see
クルス
Caruso,
の
so I headed to
青葉寮
Albador.
へ向かったんだ
There were sumo stickers all over the
公園
parking
や
city,
街中のしかも本物
and
の
they were
シー
real stickers, the 11th Rorschach.
11番目のロール車そのせいで They
僕は
almost
精神
completely
を
took over
完
my
全に
mind.
侵食されそうになった。
They were everywhere. Why? Arimura seemed to remember what happened. She gave a little scream and hugged herself tight.
TV news and internet were all talking about the
いろ
sumo
んな
stickers
テレ
back
ビ番
then.
組やネットでそのせいで
So some idiots who didn't know
どん
what
な
they were
恐ろし
they
いも
were
のか
went and
知ら
stuck
ない
them
バ
up
カな
everywhere for
連中
fun.
が面
The
白がって
bastards.
張りまくってた。
いや、
No, when I think about it, I don't think you can blame the internet or
ネ
TV.
ットやテレビのせいじゃ。
Huh?
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
I faced the rest of the group and chose my next words carefully as I tried to figure this out for myself.
あの夜もそうだけど、
Whenever a story about the sumo
僕は
stickers show up on
ネッ
the
トニュ
internet or
ースやテレ
TV,
ビ
I
が
would
歴史
always
シー
go
ル
to
を
look
前
at
に
it.
するたびに、でもニュースで扱っているの
All
は
of the stickers on the
どれ
news
も
were
偽の
fake.
シールばか
Very
りだ。
few of them were at the actual 11th
本物の
Rorschach,
歴史シール。つまり、
which means that if they were just copying what they saw on TV, they wouldn't know what the real design
実は
looked
本
like.
物がどんなんで、そんな連中の作ったシ
They
ー
could
ルなん
make
て
a million
いくら
stickers and
大
it
量に
wouldn't
貼って
bother
あって
us,
も
right?
怖くもなんともないだろう。
じゃあ
Then why were there
どう
so
して
many
あ
of
の
them?
夜は
Why were... It's not just why were there so many, why were there so many real ones?
おそらく
It was probably the
真
real
犯人
killer.
がやったん
They
だ。
put the real stickers up, knowing
自
the
分も
effect it
精
would
神汚
have.
染されるかもしれない。その目的は
Their goal was probably... Do you think it was to lead us to the pyromaniac? Pyrokinetic? Because they could guide us wherever with the paint.
あの夜、
We kept
僕ら
running
は
from the
ひたすら
stickers
シー
that
ルから
night.
行き着いた先に
And ran right into
Haida-Riko って
Haida-Riko.
人が
I
現
see,
れた。
that's right.
つまり犯人は
In other words, the killer
シー
led
ル
us
を使っ
right
て
to where Haida-Riko
ハ
was
イダリコ
waiting.
が待ち受けている場所へそしてハ
Haida
イダリコ
Riko
が僕らを
attacked
襲っ
us.
てきた。
でも
But when you think about
考えてみ
it,
る
she
と
was no different than
あの人
Ito
も伊藤
senpai.
先
She
輩
was
と
being
同じだ
mind
ったん
controlled
で
into
すね。
attacking someone.
思考を操られかわいそう。
I feel bad for her.
あ
Yeah, the
僕
real
ら
killer
真犯人
manipulated us
に
into
完全
thinking
に
that
は
she
め
was
られて
Minamisawa
彼
Senri.
女を南沢千里だと思い込ん
The
でし
killer
ま
even went through the trouble of preparing fake evidence. The
う
card.
証拠
Evidence, huh? The reason we completely believed that Haida-Riko was Minamisawa
ハ
Senri
イダリコを
was...
南沢千里だと完全に信じ込んでしまったのは
Haida-Riko had Minamisawa Senri's ID card. If it weren't for that, we probably wouldn't have been so sure. But that made us completely positive.
南沢千里の
Minamisawa
ID カード
Senri's ID card. That completely
あれに
fooled
は完
us.
全に騙された。
でもなんで彼女が
Why
あ
did she
のカ
have
ード
that
を持
card?
ってたんでしょうね。
Let's assume that Haida-Riko was being mind controlled, right? It would be child's play then for the killer to simply just meet up with a mind controlled old pyrokinetic who wouldn't attack them because the mind control would probably make sure of that, and just give him that.
その理由が全くわ
No
か
idea.
らない。
It's a complete mystery.
完全に謎のままだ。
Where did Haida-Riko get it?
思うんですけど
It's just not yet, but the real Minamisawa Senri might be alive.
本
She
物
was
の
trying to pin the blame
南
on
沢千里が生き
Haida-Riko?
てて
でもクルスは
But Kurusu kept
そん
saying
な
that's
ことありえないっ
impossible.
てずっと言ってる。
Does Kurusu know that Minamisawa Senri's alive? I feel like that's what's going on here.
クルス先輩は
I think
南
Kurusu
沢千
senpai
里を
is
か
trying
ばっ
to
てるだ
protect
けだ
her.
と思います。
It's possible that
下手をすれば、
um
その
she's working with Minamisawa
共犯
Senri.
かもしれませんよ。
Hey,
お前
there's some things you just shouldn't
いい
say.
ことと悪いことがあるぞ。
I almost screamed at Arimura. She's trying to tell me that Kurusu worked with the killer to do that to Yui. Kazuki grabbed my shirt and stopped me.
ううん。
She shook her head as if telling me to calm down.
たく
Taku, don't get mad. You're scaring me.
あ
Sorry, Arimura. I owe you an apology too.
いえ、
No, I'm sorry. That was
Haruhazumi
careless
でした。
of me.
でも
But Mishiro
Mishiro
senpai, if you're
senpai,
going to suspect someone, you should
疑
suspect
うのであれ
everyone.
ば
You
全てを
remember that
疑っ
Kurusu
てみるべ
senpai
きで
lied in
す。
front of me once already,
以前
right?
クルス先輩が
She's not wrong. Kurusu lied. She was right. Kurusu had insisted that Minamisawa Senri was dead. But she hadn't actually seen her die.
もちろん
Of course, that goes
私や
for
セ
me,
リ、
Seri, and
花
Hana
も例
too.
外じゃないです。
Huh?
うん。
Hmm?
そんなこと言い
That
出し
means
た
I
ら
can't
誰
trust
も信用
anybody.
できないじゃないか。
伊藤先輩の
That's
事件を
perhaps
考
Ito
えれ
sen
ば
with Ito
その
senpai.
くら
That's
い用
probably a
心
good
した方
idea.
がいい。 私
I liked Ito
結
senpai a
構好
lot.
きだったん
Of
で
course,
す
I
よ
wasn't in love with him or
伊藤
anything, but
先輩
he was always so honest.
もちろんたとえ嘘をつ
Even
い
if
て
he
も
lied,
バレ
it
バレ
was
で
always so obvious, and his
その
lies
嘘
were
だって
never that bad
誰か
kind
を
that
傷
hurt
つけるよ
people.
うな悪い
He
嘘
was
じ
a
ゃな
really
か
good
ったし
person, so
だから
for the first
今
time,
初めて思っ
I'm
てます
wishing I used my powers better.
自分の能力
有村
Imura.
ひなちゃん
Hina-chan,
これまで
until now, I'd
私
always
ずっ
regretted
と
wishing
後
for
悔
this
してたん
power.
です
Always thought it was better not knowing the
こ
real
んな能
meaning
力が
behind
欲
people's
しいなんて
words.
思ってしまったことでも
Now I regret it even more.
今はもう私が能力をちゃん
If
と
I'd
生か
used
し
my
てい
power
れば
better, I could have realized that something was wrong with what Ito
伊
senpai
藤
was
先輩
saying.
の言
I
葉が
could
どこ
save
かおかしいこと
Yui-san.
に気づくことができたはずです
Imura had such a sad look
そ
in
うし
her
たら
eyes.
ゆいさんだって
No,
いや
it's not
違
your
う
fault.
有村
I
のせい
decided
じ
a
ゃ
little
ない
moved away from the map.
そろそろ昼休み
Lunchtime's
も
almost
終わる
over.
か
That's
この
enough.
くらいにしとこあと
Oh, we're shutting down the club
しばらく
for a
新聞部
while.
の活
Mr.
動は
Wakui
休止にする
told us we had to, so you don't
若い
need to come
先
here
生
after
にそう言
school.
われてるし
そっか
I see.
仕方ないです
I guess we don't have a choice.
うん
あで
Oh,
も
but Kazuki
和樹
can
は
come
別
and play
に
Yuso too if she
練習
wants.
と
I'll
か
leave the
プ
door
レイしに
unlocked.
来ても構わないから
うん
I forced myself to smile, but Kazuki softly lowered her eyes as if to say no. The sun set early in late autumn. Just like I'd said over lunch, there was no club meeting that day. I had a short conversation with Serica, then head straight for Alba dorm. Even so, it was already starting to get dark, and it was easy to imagine some hidden attacker lurking in the shadows. There was more than just fear inside me now. Of course, I was afraid of the murderer. I was afraid of being killed in some horrible way and of dying in incredible pain. But I could also feel a black rage rearing its ugly head inside me. You're going to pay for what you did to Yui. Whoever the fuck you are, I will find you, and I will tear you into tiny, bloody little shreds. Those feelings grew inside me with each passing moment.
Oh, you're Miss Takarusu. Can we talk to you for a minute? You were the first person to find the body, right? What was it like? Mia was still camped out around Alba dorm. And actually, because of what had happened to Yui, there were more of them than ever. And now that we were victims in their minds, that made them our self-appointed heroic defenders. They got even bolder. They say that was your best friend who was the killer, is that right? You must be shocked, aren't you? How do you want him to apologize to you? Why do you think your friend did this? Was there something bothering him? Shut up! Do you want me to do the same thing to you that he did to her? Several of the lights as the reporters were holding shattered at the same time. Then I suddenly came back to my senses. Shocked at the strong impulse I'd felt in the eerie light the D-Sword was giving off. Today's still only November 2nd. Nothing will happen until the 4th. Nothing. I pushed my way past the media and ran inside the dorm, repeating those words as if they were a magic spell.
ただいま
I'm back. I tried to calm myself and act like nothing had happened. If you had heard me yelling, it would wake him up.
Welcome back, Taku-san.
I saw tiny little Uki peeking at me from the kitchen. We still weren't used to calling each other by our first names.
Dinner's almost done.
ありがとう
Thank you. None of us, including Dad, really wanted to eat anything, but she made dinner every night anyway. That was probably her own way of struggling against the sadness, I thought.
父さんとクルスは
Where are Dad and Crusoe?
The doctor says please. It's about Yui-san.
そっか
I see.
Nono-san's taking care of Yutoku in the exam room.
Okay. Hey, Uki?
なあウキ
Yes?
今日はまだいいけど
It's fine for today, but 2 days from now, on the 4th, make sure you're not alone at any point in time.
そうやっ
Stay
て
with
一人に
everyone.
なっちゃ
Don't
絶
go
対に
outside
ダ
no
メ
matter
だ
who tells you
みん
to.
なと一緒にいること
Got it?
あと
Does that include you, Taku-san?
あ
That's
そうだ
right.
誰も
Don't trust
信用しちゃ
anyone.
ダメだ
I remember what Arimura had said, and my heart ached a little. Uki mumbled to herself for a moment, seemingly considering my words. Then she nodded.
ちょっとユウトの様子を
I'll
見て
go
くる
check on Yuto.
じゃあナ
Please
ナさ
tell
んにも
Nana-san
ご
that
飯
dinner's
だって
ready
伝
too.
えて
I'll
くだ
take
さ
care of
い
Yuto-kun.
ゆうとくんの
わかった
Got it. I left the dining room and quietly went down the stairs into the clinic. When I opened the door, Yuto was lying on the bed and looking up at the ceiling. He was showing more emotion than he had been right after it happened, and he would answer when you spoke to him now. But he was being given strong psychotropics and spent most of his time asleep or barely alert.
ユウト
Yuto?
ああおかえりなさい
Welcome home.
どうだ具
How
合
are you
は
doing?
うん
Better.
よくなった
I'm
よ
fine now.
もう平気
He forced himself to smile, probably because he didn't want to worry me. But the muscles that controlled his face weren't working the way he wanted yet, and it looked more like he was about to cry.
クルソ
But where's Caruso? I looked around and didn't see her near the bed.
あっち
Over there.
今眠って
She's
る
asleep,
から
so leave her
そっ
alone.
としておいてあげて
I found her at the desk where Dad kept his work computer. She was face down on the desk, with her long hair covering the top half of her body. Her breathing was gentle and rhythmic. The computer was still on. She must have fallen asleep while working on it.
のの姉ちゃん
Big sis hasn't been
I'm
sleeping
ready
much.
to night
She's been
night
helping me,
night.
but she's also doing her student
僕
council work
の世
too.
話だけじゃ
She's
なく
always
て
sitting at the
生徒
computer.
会のお仕事僕ならも
I
う
told her I'm
大丈
fine now,
夫っ
but
て
she
言っ
won't
てるの
listen.
に
大丈夫かど
It's
うか
Dad's
診
job.
断するの
It's
は
Dad's
父さ
job
ん
to
だ
tell you
ろ
when you're fine.
そうだけ
true.
ど
お前はあんまり
Don't worry about
難しい
stuff
こ
too
と考
much.
えるな
Just
よ
focus on getting better.
早く元気になれって
Neither of us would bring up Yui. We'd probably have to wait until Yuto was a lot more grown up. I tapped him on the shoulder, then grabbed the blanket off the other bed and softly walked over to Caruso. Even with the heater on, I figured she might catch a cold if she slept in a place like this. But what's on the computer? I froze when I saw what was on the computer screen. It was displaying several sites that dealt with the return of the new gen madness. And at the very front was a video from Don't Look. It was paused right at the moment where the victim realized he sliced his own arm and passed out in a puddle of blood, tears, and drool. There was a newly brought notepad next to her, filled with words in her pretty handwriting. Some of it was names, locations, and times that overlapped with what we had on the map in the clubroom wall, but Caruso had made several sharp insights of her own. For example, Incident 2. Why didn't the victim put on makeup for her last street performance? The mind controller's male? He didn't consider that a girl would need to put on makeup. Senri's ID card. No one but me knew that I buried it under the memorial in remembrance of her. The killer had to read my mind to dig it up. The killers can read minds? Which means there are two killers, one who can read minds and one who can control minds. Supports Sakaru's multiple killers theory. There was page after page of it.
この短期間
I'm
で
amazed she put all this together in such short time, but why?
でも何のために
Oh. She must have sensed that I was staring at her because she moved a little. Her almond-shaped eyes slowly opened and she blinked several times. And then she raised her head and looked at me. Oh, it's you, Takaru.
あ
Welcome back.
あなんだ
ただいま
I'm home. Here, have a blanket. You'll catch a
ほ
cold.
ら毛布
やだ
Oh no, I
私
fall
居
asleep.
眠りしちゃってたの
Thank-
ね
And then she seemed to realize her mistake. She quickly reached out her hand to turn off the computer monitor. I grabbed it. Don't. You can't undo this.
あのね
Listen, Tucker, this is...
こ
I
れは
refused to let go of her hand.
一
What are you
体
doing,
何なの
Tucker?
タクル
それはこっちの
That's
セ
what
リ
I
フ
should be
だ
asking you. Don't tell me you're doing this for a student council.
生徒会の仕事だっていうのか
Caruso flinched a little. This was the exact opposite of how things usually went between us. It was always me who did the flinching.
そうだけど
It is.
そんなわけあるかよ
Like hell it is.
痛い
You're
から
hurting me. Let go.
いい加減手離して
But I kept holding on her and glared at her for a while. At first she squirmed a little, but eventually her naturally strong will won out, and she glared right back at me. I don't know how long we stayed like that, but surprisingly it was Caruso who gave up first. She silently put her other hand on top of mine. I'm sorry. Just
ごめん
Let me
なさ
go.
い
I I relaxed my grip a little and shook her hand away.
話して。
なんで
Why are you doing this on your
一
own?
人であんなことしまさか
You're
自分一人
You're
だ
not
けで
thinking
真
of
犯
finding
人
the
を
real
探
killer
そう
on
な
your
んて
own,
思
are
って
you?
ないよな。
And you're trying to keep the rest of us out of it too?
それは。
That's...
僕が同じよう
You'd
な
get
ことを
mad
し
if
た
I
ら
did
怒る
that,
く
but
せに
you're allowed to?
自分は
Is that what this is?
いいのか。もしも犯人に目
If
を
the
つけ
killer
られ
comes
て
after you and you end up like
君
you,
みたいにされたらそんなの
I don't know what...
仕事
I
じゃ
don't
ない
want that to happen.
タクル。
Takaru... Carissa fell silent for a second after I spat out the words. And then she started to talk hesitantly, as if she were uncertain of how to say what she was thinking.
前にタクルが
Remember what you said
言っ
before?
てたでしょ。
That was like the case was pursuing
事
you
件が
now.
自分のことを。
あ
Yeah,
私も
it's the same for me.
そうなの。この事件に千里
Ever
が
since I
関わ
learned
っ
that
てる
Senri
って
was
知った
involved, she's
時
been
から。
pursuing me. Huh? Senri? Minami-san was Senri? What does she mean by that? Didn't she say that Senri died in the Shibuya earthquake? Then that was a lie. And Senri was not only after me, but Kurusu? Kurusu must have sensed my confusion because she shook her head.
千里は地震
Senri
で
died
死
in
ん
the
だわ。
earthquake. I know that for a fact.
それは間違いない。
Yet somehow it feels like she's still
私を追
pursuing
いか
me.
けてくるのは
I don't know quite how to
なん
describe
て
it,
言った
but
らいいのかな。
it's her ghost.
かの
Huh? My mouth hung open as I struggled to understand what she just said. I never imagined she used an unscientific word like ghost. What are you
なんだ
talking
よそ
about?
れ
I don't understand.
意味がわからない。
ごめん
I'm
なさ
sorry.
い。
This is all I can say right
今は
now.
まだ
I don't have the
これ
courage
し
to
か
tell
言え
you.
ないの。話す勇
Her
気が
face twisted in sorrow.
出ないから。
そうか。
I see.
クルスには
Even after
ま
everything,
だ
there's
た
still
く
so
さん
much you won't
僕に
tell
言えない
me.
ことがあるんだな。
Nothing's changed, huh, Caruso? By the time I realized what I'd said, I was too late. The pain in my heart had come back, and the words had slipped out of my mouth. Even after I'd sworn that I was never going to say those words to her again. Just like I expected, she looked even more sad. Caruso, no, I didn't
違
mean
うんだ
that.
今の
けど、
But
前にも言っただ
I
ろ。
told you before, right?
今の僕
I'm
は
different than who I used to
昔
be.
とは違うって。それに僕はちゃん
And
と
I'm
今
right here in
こ
Albador,
こにい
right?
るじゃないか。
If I was still going to get
まだ
mad or
怒って
upset,
た
I
り
wouldn't come
嫌って
back.
たりしたら
Caruso sat down on the bed, exhausted. I suddenly realized that Yuto had left. It was dinner time, after all, and he probably thought the two of us wanted to be alone. There was a long, long silence after that. Neither Caruso nor I said a word. We just stared at different spots in the room. And eventually, Caruso started to talk.
いつか、
Someday,
いつか
someday I'm going to
タ
tell
ク
you
ルにだけは
all the things I haven't been able to say.
私が言え
It
ない
might
でいる
make
こ
you
と
hate me again, but
何もか
I
も
still
全部
have to say it.
話したいと。その時は
When that time comes, will you
ちゃ
let
ん
me
と
say
最後ま
everything
で
I need
聞いて
to?
くれる。
あ
Yeah,
ありがと
thank you. And finally she smiled. It was a weak smile, which looked as though it could fade at any second.
う。ねえ、タクル。
Hey, Takaru,
覚えてる
do you remember the day you woke up
地
after
震
the
の後、
earthquake?
コンス
あの時は
I was really out of it, so no,
頭
not
がぼ
really.
ーっとして、でも最
But
初
I
に見
remember
たの
the
が
first thing I
クルス
saw
の
was
泣き
you
顔
just
だったこと
crying.
だけは。
そう
I see.
今考えると不思
Looking
議だ
back,
な
it's。kind of strange.
お
Why
前
were you
なんで
crying?
泣いてたんだ。
嬉しかったからよ。
Because I was happy you woke
目を
up.
覚ましてくれて。
どうして
Why?
あの時の
Back
僕と
then,
ク
you
ル
and I
ス
were
は
still, well,
So-
strangers.
まだ
タクルはそうだったかも
Maybe
し
that's
れ
true
ない
for
け
you,
ど、
but I didn't care of you for
私
over
は
a
タクル
year.
のことを
You were part of my
1年以
family.
上ずっと面倒見
The fragile smile was still on her face.
だからお姉ちゃ
So
ん
I know
は
everything there is about
タ
you.
クルのこ
Even
と
the
な
stuff
ら
you're too embarrassed to
何
tell
でも知
other
ってるの
girls.
よ。
やめろよ。
Stop it. You're not supposed
そう
to
い
say
うこと
that.
言うのはなし。
You're right.
そうだったわ
Sorry.
ね。
I won't do it again.
もう言わない。
And then the silence returned. It was as if the two of us were trapped by memories of the past and had forgotten that time even existed.
あの、
And then time started to move again. Oh, that's right. We missed dinner. I'm sorry.
いえ、す
No,
ぐに
I'll warm it
温
up
め直
again.
しますか。ごめんね、ウキちゃん。
Sorry, Uki-chan. Uki may or may not have been able to tell what was going on between us, but she left for the upstairs dorm without another word.
タクル、
Takara,
先に行って
go on
て。
ahead.
わかった。
Sure?
あ、
Oh,
クリス。
Kurusu? As she got up for the bed and head for the dorm, I called out to her.
何？
What is it? Her soft chestnut hair flew upward as she spun around.
僕
I...
はさ、
As I looked into her beautifully colored eyes, I was finally able to say it.
も
I don't want to
う家
lose
族
any
の
more of
誰
my
も失い
family.
たくないんだ。
How long had it been since I'd called Kurusu part of my family? Her eyes went wide for a moment, and then suddenly she started to cry.
タクル。
Takaru,
だから本当に頼む。
don't do this.
やめてくれ。
Don't try to find the
一人で
killer on your
犯
own
人
if
探し
something
なんて
happened
危
to
険な
you.
こと。
If what happened to Yui happened to you.
もしもお前まで。あれ情けないな。
That's
泣
pathetic.
くなよ。僕は
I'm not supposed to cry.
情けない。
Fine. I won't.
わかった。だから、
And you promise me too,
お願い。
Takaru. Promise
タ
you
ク
won't
ル
leave
も
me
約束
behind.
して。
He won't disappear on me.
私を残して。
Yeah,
私、
I can't take it.
耐えられない。
I can't take all this sadness.
こんなに悲しいの。
She probably didn't even know what she was doing. She ran up to me and buried her face in my chest. She wrapped her arms around me as if she refused to let me go. And cried for a long, long time, calling out Yui's name in a tiny voice.
クルス。
Kurusu. Until now, I'd always been bothered by the idea of family. I thought it was just a heavy, annoying chain that kept me stuck in one place.
でも
But I was wrong.
そうじゃなかった。
Dad, Yui, Yuto, Kurusu, and even Uki now. They were all part of my family. It was only then that it really hit me that Yui was gone forever. I held Kurusu's frail body tight and cried like a baby like for a long, long time. November 3rd. The school is empty since it closed for Culture Day. Of course, no one from the newspaper club was there, and the room was quiet and empty. I've been there alone since lunchtime. I wasn't sure how many hours I'd been staring at the map, looking for a clue that pointed toward the real killer. I had until tonight. Once it was past midnight, November 4th would be here. And then the final return of the new Gen Madness murder could happen at any time. The killer is probably getting ready right now. Yui, Haida. Who was their last target? Was it me? Arimura? Uki? Or someone I didn't know at all? Arimura had already said that she would spend the night at our dorm. I asked her to stay with Uki and the others at all times. With her powers, we should be able to avoid a repeat of what happened to Yui. And
ごめんな、クルス。
I'm sorry, Kurusu.
僕は
I'm a liar. I would find the real killer and make sure they came after me. And then I'd take revenge for Yui. Yesterday I'd spoken with Arimura and the others and gone over the things that didn't make sense. When we talked, there were a few things we'd left to come back to later.
まず
First, the third case, revolving dead. Why did the policeman ignore us when he saw us inside the Love Hotel wearing Hegiho uniforms? The answer was probably what I initially thought, that the officer was being mind-controlled. The only reason I could think was that the killer wanted me to be at the scene. But I couldn't figure out why. The killer is specifically going after Miyashiro, or doing this to involve Miyashiro,
なら
so why not think about it another way? What if I hadn't gone there? Why would that cause a problem for them? Telekinesis? It's true that's where I met Arimura and Kunosada-san, which is how I learned I was a gigalomaniac. But it wasn't through this case I learned I could use telekinesis. Why would that cause a problem for them? I might not have noticed a connection. That's right. I'd taken that video without even thinking about it, and after analyzing it 100 times, I found the sumo sticker. And then I found the other stickers at the other murder sites. Then I made a video connecting the murders to the sumo stickers and uploaded it to the internet. And because of that video, our minor Lil's newspaper club site had gotten an incredible number of hits. No, wait a sec. Did the killer send me there to benefit the newspaper club? That's ridiculous. I frowned and crumpled up the paper where I'd written newspaper club site hits, and threw it in the trash. I then glared at the map again. I looked at the next note that we'd marked to come back to. It's about Watabe, and the fourth incident to morbidly obese. The real reason that our site had gotten so many hits was that Watabe, the famous internet journalist, had gone involved. That's why he decided to hold an interview with us, but just like I'd said yesterday, I couldn't figure out why. The interview would have done nothing but fuel the flame war. So I'd guessed that Watabe had already been under the control of the killer. Wait, which means the killer stood to gain something from having Watabe meet with us, right? Who stood to gain by having Watabe come to Hekiho? I should probably be using the quick save function, shouldn't I? Who stood to gain by having Watabe come to Hekiho? Newspaper club? That's right. We in the newspaper club were the ones who stood to gain something. I glanced at the paper I'd just thrown in the trash that read newspaper club site hits. We were already kind of famous because of the video we'd uploaded about the sumo stickers. The arrival of Watabe, the famous reporter, only increased that. And then, just as the discussion was about to start, Watabe had become a victim of the return of the new gen madness. What could be more sensational than that? It's like they were trying to make this newspaper club famous. But why? And after that, the newspaper club got deeper and deeper into the case. Then the case became more than just something we reported on. We went through things that no high school newspaper club would ever experience and felt excitement, terror, and surprise. Damn it, they just been toying with the newspaper club. Part of that was the attack on me and Arimura by the pyrokinetic. Even then, the killer had shown signs of toying with us. It wasn't me who saw Senri who attacked us. It was another woman named Haida Riko. But the killer had Mimisawa Senri's ID card. That was what had fooled us and had also almost sent the case off in the wrong direction. But last night I finally solved the mystery of the ID card. Because I'd seen this about Mimisawa Senri's ID card in Kurusu's notes. It's likely that since Kurusu put the ID card under the memorial. That's right. This is what it said in Kurusu's notes. Senri's ID card. No one but me knew that I buried it under the memorial in remembrance of her. The killer had to read my mind to dig it up. The killers can read minds. It was safe to assume that she was right. The killer had read her mind and taken the ID card from the memorial. But what was the reason? Why did the killer want to make it look like Mimisawa Senri was attacking us? What was the point? They tried to terrify me. That's right. It felt like the killer was using Mimisawa Senri to take advantage of my trauma. In fact, I'd felt terrified many times because of that. No, wait. That means... I spoke a lot without even realizing it. The killer isn't after the newspaper club. They're after me. That's impossible. There was no way they could have committed all these murders just to mess with me. It made no sense and was far too elaborate. And for all the effort they put into it, there was something that didn't make sense about that incident with Ito and Yui. That was... It would make no sense. I feel like it would make no sense to turn Ito into a killer if the motive is vengeance. Because Ito never knew Minamisawa. This doesn't make sense. That's right. There was no point in making Ito out to be the killer. No, in fact, making Ito the killer was the wrong thing to do. If the point was to make it look like this was Minamisawa Senri's revenge, there were other people who would make more sense. For example, though it was scary to even think about it, Minamisawa Senri's best friends, Kurusu and Kawahara. If one of them had committed the murder, the police never would have become suspicious at all. It's possible that we might not have even figured out that mind control was involved. This whole thing could have ended with the assumption that it was a plot to get revenge for an old friend. So why did the killer choose Ito when he wasn't involved? Did they want us to realize that we were wrong? Did they want to be found out? And why did they make him tell lies that would be easily found out? What was the point? It's like they're trying to tell us that Ito was just a puppet and the real killer was someone else. Suddenly I stood up from my chair. Is that what they're after? The killer deliberately chose Ito, who had no motive at all to commit the crime. Of course, we realized that immediately and started looking even harder for the real killer. Is that what they wanted? But none of the cops, except for Shinjo-san, would believe in psychic powers, adding the media's speculation, and the public's confusion and interest would only grow. That was exactly what had happened. More and more pundits and commentators were arguing over whether Ito, whom they always called Boy A, was really the killer. And of course, multiple threads showed up on @channel simultaneously declaring both his innocence and his guilt. There were even threads speculating about who the true killer might be, and they showed no signs of stopping. And tomorrow was the 4th. From midnight tonight to midnight tomorrow, the whole city would be waiting with bated breath to see the killer's next move. What if the killer actually planned all this? Are they explicitly trying to create an uproar? An explosion in interest? It was like they were challenging me to a game. They'd lure me in with the return of the new Gen Madness, which they knew I'd take an interest in. They used Minamisawa Senri to drive me into a corner from which I couldn't escape. They were moving everyone around for their own ends, both wrong-siders and self-proclaimed right-siders, like chess pieces on a board. And they wanted me, the other player, to try and stop the last murder on November 4th. I put my hand on my forehead and stared at the map, unable to believe it. That was the only reason. They killed all those people just for that. That's why they did that to Yui. No, this is an illusion. This is all my delusion. I hear that I was whispering to myself. That's right. There has to be some greater conspiracy going on here. Some huge conspiracy that will shake the world to its core. We've been caught up in that huge plan, and that's why this was happening to us. That had to be it. Suddenly I heard the sound of a ringing phone. I quickly looked around for its source. It was my smartphone, which I kept inside my bag. I quickly pulled it out and looked at the screen. Shinjo-san? Shinjo-san had been visiting Ito in the hospital every day, since he was the one in charge of Yui's case. If he was calling, that meant... I forced myself to stay calm as I hit the answer button. Miyashiro-kun. Yes, did Ito wake up? Yeah, 2 hours ago. 2 hours? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Don't ask me for the impossible. I was waiting for the other officers to leave the room. If they even caught me talking to you, I'd be punished. But what about Ito? Is he okay? Yeah, he's a lot more alert. He can talk, but... Well, Kunosawa-san... I can hear Kunosawa-san's voice on the other end of the phone. There's damage not only to his neocortex, but his hippocampus and language center too. I can't guarantee the damage won't be permanent if he pushes himself too hard. That's the situation, but he says he wants to talk to you anyway. Okay. Ready? I'm putting him on. Okay. Oh, Ito. I gulped down the saliva in my mouth. Suddenly I felt a terrible uncertainty in my heart. What was I supposed to say to Ito? Even if he'd been mind-controlled, he was still the one who chopped up my little sister. But I didn't hear any sound coming from the phone.
Ito?
Ito? I heard the sound of a deep breath on the other side of the phone.
Ito?
Ito, are you okay? In the end, that was all I could say. Miyashiro.
Ah, 僕だ。
Yeah, it's me. Forgive me. Forgive me, please.
何？
What? I killed Yui-chan.
いい。
No,
それ
don't
以
say
上
another
言わなく
word.
ていい。
I tried to cut him off. He ignored me and started crying. But Yui-chan was your little sister, and I killed her with my own hands. It's no good. Even if I killed myself, I wouldn't atone for this. It wouldn't be Shiro.
なんだよ
What are you
それ。
talking about? Are you
死ぬと
saying
か
you're going
言
to
うな。
die?
しっかりしろ伊藤君
Snap out of it, Ito-kun. Shinjo-san's yells overlap with my words.
いいか。僕はお
Listen to
前
me,
が
I
ユイ
don't
にあん
think
な
you
ことを
did
した
that
と
to
は思っ
Yui.
てない。
Someone else is the real
本当の
killer.
犯人は
The real killer.
ああ、
Yeah, you're
お前は
innocent.
無実。なんでもいい。
Just try to
思い出
remember,
してくれ。
someone did something to
お
you,
前
right?
誰かに何
Right?
かされたんだよ。
Someone did something.
そうだ。
That's right.
お
Who
前
was
に
the one
思考誘
controlling
導
your
をかけ
mind?
たやつは誰なの？
Suddenly I heard him scream in pain on the other end of the phone.
伊藤？
Ito,
どうした
what's wrong? Hey,
ストップだ
stop him. Stop. Make him stop. His brainwaves are abnormal.
何
What?
思考誘導が
His mind is still being controlled. It's been set up to keep us from getting information out of him.
これは
What?
このままだと
At this rate, we'll destroy his hippocampus.
聞こえたか宮代君
Did you hear that, Mishiro-kun? We're done. I'm hanging up. Wait, please. Oh, wait, don't hang up. Your son's screams cut him off. I can almost remember just a little more.
伊藤君
Io-kun.
伊藤、もういい。
You know,
やめろ。
that's enough. Stop. But Io didn't stop. He was trying his hardest, all while enduring horrific pain, to tell me something. It's true. I think it was in the club room.
物質？
Club room? I don't remember when. There was someone else there with me.
わからないダメだ
No more. No more. Stop, I'm talking to me, Shiro. Don't hang up.
伊藤。
Ito,
ゆいちゃんの
if I can avenge Yui-chan, I don't care what happens to my mind.
なら
Even from here, I could sense his incredible determination.
どうな聞いてるか
Are you listening, Mishiro?
あ、聞いてる。
Yeah, I'm listening.
そい
I
つ
talked with them for a while, and then... That's right. And he showed me a picture of you on a phone.
僕の写真？
A picture of me. Yeah, I don't remember what the photo was, but I remember I was surprised. I was surprised because you looked so happy. You were with the people from Amadorm. I never seen you look like that before.
宮代が楽し
Picture
そう
from
にしてたん
Amadorm.
だ
My old, the
青
old
葉寮
phone.
の人たちと
What is he talking about?
あんな宮代
There were no photos like that.
初めそれ
And that's right. I remember they left and pointed at someone.
この子を殺せ
Kill this girl, they said. Yui. It was Yui. He wrote a picture of me and Yui together. I got scared, tried to run away, and then someone opened the door and came in.
その二人
And the two of them. The two of them. Stop it. What are you doing?
伊藤。
Ito. Ito.
おい伊藤
Hey,
君
Ito-kun. His mind had finally reached its limits. There was one last scream of terror and then nothing. He didn't answer no matter how many times I yelled his name. All I heard was a meaningless mumbling. He didn't seem to know where he was or what he was doing anymore.
宮代君
Mishiro-kun, I'm sorry, but he can't talk anymore.
もう
久野里さんに
Give
代
the
わ
phone
って
to
ください。
Kurosawa-san. Huh? Just do it, hurry. A moment later, Kurosawa-san answered the phone in a cold voice.
何か用
Do you need something? Please, help Ito.
こいつに無理を
You're the one who made him
させたのは
talk.
お前
Why are you
だ
asking me for this now?
今更な
この事件が
Once
解
it's over,
決
you
した
can use
ら
me as guinea pig for
僕
your
のこと
experiments.
実験
So
台にしたっ
please.
ていいです。だからお願いし
I
ます
heard a。mocking laughter in her voice.
ほう
Oh, I'm gonna take you seriously, you
今の
know.
言葉
やりたければ
Do
勝
whatever
手
you
に
want.
してく
Just
ださ
save
い。
Ito.
だからいい。
分かった
Fine, I'll do what I can, but don't
で
get
き
your
るだ
hopes
け
up
の
too
ことを
much.
してみよ
Then she hung up the phone. No matter how many times I called back, she didn't answer. Maybe one of the other police officers besides Shinjo-san had come into the room. Ito... At the very end, he'd endured horrific pain just to give me that info. Thinking back, what he told me was crucial. It was a cold autumn evening, but I could still feel cold sweat forming on my forehead. They had the phone. The person who controlled Ito's mind was once here in this room. I tried to drive my tired, exhausted mind to fit in this last piece of the puzzle. But that can't be. That makes it sound like the real killer... Like the real killer had to be one of us. No. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. But that was a hint Ito had given me. And maybe that hint was also... Maybe that was also a message from the killer. The fact that Ito had woken up right before November 4th. The fact that he'd given me that information. It all seemed like part of the killer's next move. Damn it, if that's what you want, then I'll play along. Even if it's just what you want. I will find you. Ito's first hint. The killer was talking with Ito in private, in the newspaper club room, which meant that it was someone close enough to Ito to have a chat with. And someone who would belong in the newspaper club. By process of elimination, who can I rule out? Which of these people can't be a suspect? They have to be part of the newspaper club. Who can be ruled out? Well, the obvious answers include... You? Yeah, I can take Kawahara-kun off the list. He's friends with Kurusu, but not that close to Ito. And because of Kurusu, he didn't like the newspaper club. It's hard to imagine the two of them and talking in private here. The same goes for Shinjo. It was probably safe to take Shinjo-san off the list of suspects. Ito and Shinjo-san had only met after I'd gotten the call from my old smartphone. Yeah, safe to rule him out. Kunosato. I'd only met Kunosato Miyo-san. That's right, it was after Ito had faked the call. We hadn't met before that point. Which meant it didn't match with Ito's evidence. I could eliminate her. Uki. Yeah, I could definitely rule out Uki. There was that call from my missing phone that Ito had received. At first I thought it was her doing, but now that I know that Ito had done that all by himself. If she and Ito were working together, there would have been no need for him to install that app. He could have just had Uki make the call. So I could rule her out. I assume it wants me to rule myself out. Just in case it... Can I rule myself out? Michiro Takuru, that's me. I know I'm not the killer, so I can rule myself out. But I've experienced for myself just how terrifying mind control at Cafe Lax is. After that, it's very possible I could have been involved in the crimes and just haven't realized it. That's right, trust no one. It's not safe to just rule out anyone, even myself. I'm gonna load the save again. What about you? It's true that Arimura wasn't part of the newspaper club. She was known to come in here from time to time. She probably talked to Ito while they were alone once or twice. Too early to rule her out. Do you want me to knock off the teacher? He's technically part of it. Mr. Wakui is the newspaper club's advisor. He would come by the newspaper club sometimes, and he'd probably spoken with Ito sometimes. In other words, I couldn't rule him out. Yeah. Kurusu? Can't just rule out anyone, even Kurusu. Oh, no way? Shouldn't give anyone special treatment, even on no way. I could rule out Kazuki. Even when she was in the clubroom, she was always playing ESO 2. She never spoke to anyone. Even if she was alone and with Ito, she would never have talked to him. Really? feel like that's a stupid reason. Kazuki Hana, Yamazoe Uki, Kunosato Mio, Shinjo Takeshi, Kawahara Masashi. I could definitely rule out these 5. Which left?
そして
And if I use Ito's evidence to narrow it down
絞り込
further,
んだらそいつと
it's all of them. And that's right. He showed me a picture of you on a phone. The killer had a picture of me. And a picture of me at Abbott dorm with Yui.
いきなりスマホでお前
I
の
was
写真を
smiling.
見
That
せ
night
て
was
き
a
たんだ
pretty old one. If nothing else, it had to be from before I left to go live by myself and out in the park.
そんな昔
The
の
only
写
ones
真
who could show Ito that picture were probably...
できるのは
There are only 3 people who could have done it. There's only 3 I can think of. Takaru? All my old photos of myself and the people at Abbott dorm have been lost along with my cell phone, and that phone still hasn't been found yet. In other words, since I didn't currently have photos, I couldn't be the killer. But then I realized my mistake. When had someone begun controlling Ito's mind? I didn't know. Maybe it was from before I dropped my phone, so it was possible that I could have shown Ito the old photo. In other words, I couldn't rule myself out. It's possible it's Takaru.
そんな昔の写真を
The only ones who could show that photo were probably Caruso.
多分
Caruso would have pictures of everyone from Abbott dorm, obviously. Probably old photos of me too. Which meant she fit the criteria of the real killer. Oh god.
そんな昔の
And then there's only one other person I can think of.
写真
If they were talking about people who knew old photos, then...
多分
Oh no, eh? Serika was my childhood friend. She'd known me for longer than anyone else here. Of course, she probably had plenty of old photos of me. And when I'd lived at Abbott dorm, she'd come over almost every day. She got along with everyone. Of course, she'd have a photo of Yui too. In other words, she fit the criteria to be the real killer. Jesus. So I'm left with these 3, huh? I pursed my lips as I stared at the photos on the map.
この中
The real killer is one of these 3 people.
クルス
Kurusu, Onoe, or me.
ニュージェレの狂気
One of us was the person who killed all those psychics and did that to Yui. I come up with a lot of different theories, but looking back at them, they all seem so impossible. At some point, the setting sun had disappeared beyond the artificial horizon created by the city's skyline, and night was falling. How many hours were left? Until November 4th began. I grabbed my bag and ran out of the room. I wanted something. Some form of unshakable evidence. Evidence proving who the killer was.
いや違う
No, that's not right. That's not
そうじゃないんだ。
right. That's not what I wanted. What I wanted was proof that neither Kurusu Serika nor I was the killer. Kurusu. I pushed my way through the media camps that still crowded around the clinic and ran inside, just as Uki was coming out of the exam room. She was holding Yuta's laundry. She nearly spilled on the floor when she saw me.
Takaru-san,
Huh?
ゆうとくん
Yuzo-kun took his medicine and finally fell asleep,
やっ
so
と眠
please.
れたんです
Oh.
Are you in such a hurry? Can you talk to
野
Nono-san?
々さんに
大事な話なんだ
It's important. Where is she right now?
今どこに
さっきまで
She was
私と
just
一緒
leaving
に
Yuzo-kun. I
ゆうとくん
think
の
she's in her
お
room
世
right
話を
now.
そうか
I see. I reminded Uki to make sure that once the fourth began, she was never to let herself be alone. And then I headed up the stairs to the dorm.
クルス
Kurusu,
Iruka.
you here?
クルス
Kurusu. I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. That was strange. If she was in the room, she should have been able to answer.
入るぞ
I'm coming in, okay? I softly turned the doorknob. It wasn't locked. I opened the door just a little and looked inside. The lights were off and the room was pitch black.
も
Did she go to sleep already? Maybe she wasn't feeling well. She tried her best to hide it, but ever since Yui had died, she'd been a mess. She wasn't eating much and she'd clearly lost weight. It hurt to look at her.
うなあ
Hey,
大
you
丈夫
okay?
か
Should I call Dad?
父さん呼んでこようか
I spoke softly as I came inside and approached the bed. Huh? No one was there. She wasn't lying on the bed or the sofa or sitting at the desk.
どこ行ったんだ
Where the hell did she go?
あいつ
I turned on the lights, but the room was completely empty. I remember that she'd said something about sleeping in my room before and checked there. But it was empty too. I'm scared.
Hey, Kurusu.
I didn't want to wake Yuto, but I still shot as I ran downstairs.
Oh,
Oh, senpai, hey there.
Aimer was in the dining room. She was flipping through the pages of a girl's magazine, looking bored.
有村すまない
Aimer, sorry, but can you take care of
ユキのこと
Yuki?
よろしく頼む
いやいや
No, no, I'm not a
私あの子
guardian.
の
Anyway,
保護者
you're a
じゃない
tart too,
です
so
よ
you need to stay with us.
大
Protect
体
me and
宮
Yuki
代
both. Why
先
don't
輩
you?
も狙われてるんですから
Aimer frowned and
一
glared
緒
at
にい
me.
ないとだ
4日になったら
I
す
will
ぐ
once
す
it's fourth. Anyway, have you
それ
seen
より
Caruso?
クリスを知らないか
クルス先輩
Chris
ですか
senpai, she just left.
出かけた
She left.
ど
Why?
うして
I looked at the clock and saw it was already past 7 p.m.
さ
I
あ
don't know, she was in a
慌
hurry.
てて出て
Tried
行
to
きま
talk
し
to
た
her
よ
and she wasn't paying
声
attention.
をかけてもなんだか生返事で
僕も出て
I'm
る
leaving too. I'll be
す
right
ぐに
back.
戻る
Just
から
watch
とに
Uki
か
for
く
me.
ユキを頼む
ちょっと
Wait, I told you I'm not a
だから
guardian.
私は保
Senpai!
護者じゃないですって先
She screamed at me, but I ignored her and ran down the stairs. I had a terrible premonition, and my heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would burst out of my chest. As I was about to exit the clinic door, Uki poked her head out from the examination room again.
タクルさん
Officer, but I'm sorry, can you please be quiet?
そうだったな
Did something happen?
何か
いや
No, it's just that
クリスの
Kurusu.
やつが
Then something caught my eye in the examination room. It was Dad's computer, the one Caruso had been using before. A pair of stereo headphones was plugged into the front audio terminal. I thought for a moment, then stopped and went to the examination room. Uki saw the look on my face and drew back a little, as if she was scared.
父さんはいないの
Is
か
Dad not here?
昼から
He went out
患
to
者
check
さん
some
の
patients
往
this
診に出て
afternoon.
いま
Said
す
he couldn't do it in here with all the me around.
マスコミ
じゃあこれ
Then
は
what's this? Points at the headphones, and Uki looked troubled. She'd probably been told not to tell me. It was definitely what Caruso had been using them. Of course, she wouldn't need these just to browse the internet, which meant I could guess what she was doing.
クリスのやつ
Caruso's a liar too,
嘘つきだ
just like I turned out to be today. I turned on the computer and looked at the browsing history. She either didn't have a habit of deleting it afterward or had been in such a hurry that she hadn't had the time to do so. The history list was still there, and when I clicked, I found a site with the first video from the Return of the New Gen Madness, the Don't Look case.
またこれ
She was looking at this again. I put the headphones on and pressed play. I screamed and ripped them off. The volume was so loud that I thought I would blow out my eardrums. I could hear Yuto rolling around the bed behind me, and Uki put her hand over my mouth.
Stop it, don't be loud.
大きな声を
I made an I'm sorry gesture and then watched as the video kept playing at loud volume. That was close. I almost went deaf. Had the volume got set to maximum somehow? I quickly lowered it, then put the headphones back on and looked at the screen.
この動画を見てた
Was
んだ
she
よ
watching
な
us?
あいつは
Yes.
Uki's voice was soft, so she'd actually been told to keep quiet about it.
これをずっと
This whole time.
No, the video really scared me, so I tried not to watch it. But I think she kept stopping or playing the same section over and
見ないよ
over.
うにしてましたそうしたら
And then she seemed to know something, and then she suddenly told me that she needed to go to her room and asked me to watch
自分の部屋に
Udo-kun.
用があるかそれ以上
I
は
don't know much more than that,
あ
I'm
んま
sorry.
りわからないです
Her shoulders slumped as if she was ashamed at her uselessness.
いや
No,
ありがとう。
thanks anyway. I nodded and told her not to worry about it.
タクル兄ちゃん
Then I heard a frail voice.
タクル兄ちゃん
That's you, right, big
でし
bro?
ょ
起こしちゃった
Did I
か
wake you? I'm
ごめん
sorry.
な
すみません
Um,
ゆうと
I'm
く
sorry, Udo-kun.
It was Yudo. He hadn't been asleep after all.
んうん
No, it's fine.
いいんだ
I looked over at the bed and saw that the drugs had almost put him to sleep again. He was trying his best to keep his tired eyes open.
I know what she was doing.
のの姉ちゃんね
Sis was looking at just one part over and over.
何
I
回
can
も
tell from the sounds of the mouse and what was coming out of her headphones.
何回も
Just one part over and
同
over.
じところだけ
She'd only been watching one part of the video. But why? No
so-
way. No way. I stared at the computer screen. Had Caruso found something? Some clue that pointed to the killer. Did she find something in this video?
タクル
Big
兄
bro,
ち
Huh?
can you take revenge for my sister?
ゃんお
Can you
姉ち
catch
ゃん
the
の
person who made so I'll never
敵を
see my sister
取れる
again?
かな
Yeah, leave it to me.
任せとけ
I'll catch them.
僕が
I'll
捕まえ
catch
て
them
や
no
る
matter what.
絶対
Sis.
He was starting to cry, so I left him in Nuki's care as I took my phone out of my pocket and dialed a number I knew very well. I grew more and more anxious with each passing ring.
クルス
Cruz, where'd you go? Pick up the phone!
まさか一
You
人
didn't
で
go to find the killer yourself, did you? I told you not to do that!
やめろよお
That's
前
exactly what you would have done if you found the killer first, right? I know exactly what you think. I suddenly felt like I could hear her voice.
いつまで
How
も
long are you
姉
gonna
貴
keep
ぶる
pretending to
な
be
よ
my big sister? You're crybaby and a coward, and you always rely on me, so pick up the
僕
phone,
に
damn
甘え
it!
てばっかのくせに
The only thing I
さっさと
heard
返
was
事
the
しろよ
endless sound
バ
of
カ野
ringing.
郎
November 3rd, 2015. Tuesday. Uragawacho, Shibuya. She went to the memorial, didn't she? That's what I'm thinking. The path to Hekiho Academy. Kurusu was walking alone along an empty street. Her breathing was a little heavy. She'd been walking a long time and at a fast pace. She was wearing her school uniform. There was a school rule that said that whenever you went on campus, you had to wear your uniform. It's funny to realize she was obeying it even now. She just found a clue in the Don't Look video and then asked a certain person to meet her at Hekiho Academy. The person had said that they couldn't be there immediately, but that they would call her when they got to the school. So there was no need to rush. There was plenty of time until the other person would get there. That's what Kurusu told herself. But her body kept driving her forward.
Oh, my phone.
She realized that she hadn't looked at it in a long time. She must have been under more strain than she realized. She looked and saw several calls from Takeru and Narimura. She thought of stopping and heading back, but then sighed as she realized it was impossible. She couldn't go back to Alba Dorm now. If she saw Takeru's face, her determination would waver. Her determination would waver and she would change her mind. So now the only thing she could do was go forward. Now she realized the hidden truth.
ごめんね
I'm sorry.
やっぱり
I guess I'm a
嘘つきだ
liar
ね
after all.
私
She apologized to her absent brother and tapped the phone in her pocket. Hey, let me check something real quick. Just make sure everything's alrighty, right? Then she glared at the hill in front of her. She readied herself for what was to come. She had to rid herself of any kindness or sentimentality. Even if she didn't intend to have any mercy now, she might find herself having a moment of weakness later. At night, the academy was an ominous dark silhouette amidst the dazzling lights of Shibuya. It was as if it knew what was coming. Usually there was a guard in the room attached to the front gate, but for some reason she couldn't see him. The air felt tense. She shook off her uncertainty and went inside. It's her, isn't it? She went into the dark newspaper club room and turned on the fluorescent lights.
Oh,
Kurusu decided to wait here for her call, but when she arrived, she found something unexpected. It was a map that they'd put up to analyze the case, which had been taken down a while before. It was now back up on the wall, and there were several new pictures and pieces of information that she hadn't seen before. That was probably Takeru's doing. He'd been continuing to hunt the killer in secret, too.
タクル
Takeru.
あなただって
You're a liar too.
嘘つき
She felt herself letting her guard down as she thought of Takeru and quickly shook her head. She brought a chair close to the wall and sat down and stared at the map. Takeru had said something once,
けど
but now it
最近
feels
は
like the case is pursuing
その
us.
事件自体が逆に僕らを追ってきてるような
Looking back, several things had happened that could only be explained that way. Kurusu decided that Takuru's life was in danger because he was a psychic, and that she was going to save him. If the killer was just after Takuru's life, there were more direct ways to go about it. But instead, they enacted the return of the New Gen Madness killings, and claimed Yui's life in the process. It would have been easier for them to take Takuru's life as well. But just like Takuru had said, the case seemed to be slowly closing in on them from all sides. Which meant they aren't after Takuru's life. They're after something else involving him. That was the only thing that made sense. But she couldn't figure out what it could be. But then she saw a piece of paper on the board. Haida had Minamisawa's ID card. That impossible fact had swirled inside of her chest and sent her mind reeling. It was one of the reasons she figured it was Haida Riko. But I know who it is that's working behind the scenes, trying to achieve whatever their goal is. It all started with the ID card that Minamisawa Senri had. That was without a doubt her real card. And no one but Kurusu could have known where it was. All of Senri's possessions were lying beneath the memorial. Kurusu had put them there herself. All of Senri's family had died in the earthquake. She had no surviving relatives. So after the memorial had gone up, Kurusu had put them there. Even Kawahara, the other boy who'd often play with them, didn't know that. It was a secret about Senri that only Kurusu knew. But Haida Rika also knew that secret. No, she'd been given it. How was that possible? Mind reading. The power to see other people's thoughts and memories. Kakita, the victim in the revolving dead case, had supposedly possessed it. The killer had used it to read Kurusu's mind. And that was how they were able to find Senri's ID card. In other words, it's someone who I've made contact with. And now that she found out what was hidden in the Don't Look video, she had no choice but to fight them. She probably made contact with them more than once or twice, because they were one of her closest friends. I wonder how long I've known you for. She suddenly remembered their smile. Their whisper echoed off the walls with no one to hear it. The countless after-school hours they spent together were some of the most important times in Kurusu's life. Meaningless conversations, shops they'd browse together. But she couldn't think of any special memories. And that was very painful for her. Because to Kurusu, the two of them were such natural parts of each other's lives. But I have to ask. I have to find out. Even if the answer meant that things would never be the same. And there's one more thing. Her thoughts went deeper. There was one more thing she had to ask. AH Tokyo General Hospital. That was where Takeru had seen Senri being experimented on 8 years ago. She'd been tied to a chair and was slowly going mad, when she then saw a boy that she didn't know, which was Takeru. She had no time to figure out who he might be. She shouted, "Help me," without even understanding what was going on. And the boy heard what she cried out and ran. Was he surprised at the horrible scene he saw? Or afraid? It was probably both. And Kurusu couldn't blame him for either. At the time, he was just a 4th grader, a 10-year-old boy. There was no way he could have saved Senri. That was why Senri didn't hate him for that. Kurusu knew that. She tried to tell Takeru many times and failed. She failed to tell him about her one big mistake. That was why she'd always been suspicious. And that was the reason why she now knew the truth. Because that day, 8 years ago, when the boy had witnessed Senri being experimented on, he was alone. I had a feeling it was come to that. There was no Inoue, was there? He was outside the room where the experiment was being done. Just a single timid boy peeking through a tiny crack in the door. There had been no one next to him. Nobody. But Takeru said they saw it with another person. Yep, At first, she thought that Tucker was just confused. He'd been in a coma for over a year and he was simply mistaken. But then that person had said the same thing. That they were together. It had been a thorn in her heart for a long, long time.
本当にあなたは
Were you really with
あの
Tucker
時
back then?
タクルと一緒にいたの
Who is Onoe? She reached out toward the computer. In the end, she let her hands simply float in the air. She's seen the video dozens of times. It wouldn't be any different here than it was in Alba Dorm. Nor would the secret it concealed. Nor would it change what she was about to do. There was no changing any of it, it seemed. It took a long time before they called her. It was almost midnight. But Caruso didn't get frustrated. She simply waited. Calmly. She'd assumed it would be around this time. They were probably waiting for November 4th, the day of the New Gen Madness.
そして私を
And then they were going to do to her what they did to the other victims. She felt her phone vibrating and took it out of her pocket. Tucker was still calling despite the late hour. He'd sent text messages too. Of course, Caruso hadn't answered at all. Was it him again? She thought as she looked at the screen. Oh. The name she'd been waiting for had appeared on the screen. She answered the call and put the phone up to her ear.
もしもし
Hello? She heard a voice she knew well on the other end. Sorry to keep you waiting, they said.
ううんいい
No,
わ
it's
よ
okay.
そんな
I
に
haven't
待っ
been
てな
waiting
いか
that
ら
long. And how's the one who called you
それ
here?
にここへよ
Yeah. Yeah. How about the roof then?
それじゃあ屋上でいい
Yeah,
かし
I'll
ら
be waiting. She ended the call and went up to put the phone back into her
待ってるわね。
pocket. But suddenly, she stopped and called up a picture on the screen. It was a photo of her family at Alba Dorm, the same as the one that was Taku's treasure. She stared at it for a while, then placed the phone on the edge of the table, the place where she always sat when she was with the newspaper club. If something happened to her, she wanted someone else to save it. And then she looked around the room and bowed.
お世話になりまし
Thank you
た
for everything. She turned off the lights, and the room became as dark as the abyss. Don't act like you're never coming back. He wasn't by her side to tell her that. Confronting the true culprit. A friend. Damn it. I was pulling my hair out in frustration. I'd already watched the video 100 times. It of course was the video of Utanu, the don't look victim. He wept tears of blood, lost his arm which had dyed his desk red and died. Not only was I watching a shocking gory video over and over again, I was desperately searching for what Caruso had found. I felt like I was going crazy. Caruso, answer me, Caruso!
出てくれよ。クル
Each
ス
time I finished watching the video, I called her phone. But she never answered. I slammed my finger down the end call button and started up the video again. Maybe it was something in the user comments, not the video itself. I thought it might be, so I checked everyone, but nothing struck me as unusual. It was just a flood of meaningless comments going from right to left. And only a few of them were actually worried about Utani, who just pissed me off more. How the hell am I supposed to find this video?
動画に何があるっ
I
て言うんだ
expanded to
よ
fill the screen. I tried slowing it down, but there was nothing. Had Caruso found something here?
タクルさん
Takeru-san?
There was a hesitant knock at the door and Uki came in. She'd probably been crying with Yuto. She was rubbing her swollen red eyes.
ユドは
Where's Yuto?
先生が
Doctor
帰
came
って
back
き
and
て
he's looking at him.
見てく
He
れ
took
て
his
ます
medicine so he'll go to sleep soon, he
お
says.
薬を飲んだのですぐ
Her
に
voice was still a
眠
little
れるだ
teary.
ろうって
Did she figure
なんか
something out?
わかりました
いや
No,
ダ
I've
メ
got
なんだ
nothing. Uki looked very concerned as she watched me grit my teeth.
私
I was close to
ノノ
Nono-san
さ
when she
んが
found
何か
something.
を発見
あ
Yeah?
なんだか
She wasn't as calm as
い
she
つ
usually
もの
was,
冷
so
静なノノ
I'm
さん
very
じゃなく
worried.
て
Uki seemed to be remembering what had
と
happened.
ても心配です
Seeing her like that only made me more worried.
クルスのやつ
How did she act?
どんな感じだったんだ
それが
Well, she suddenly stood up and said, "It can't be true."
そんなのは
She
嘘
seemed
だ
very
と
shocked.
か。
うろたえた。
Shocked.
は
Yeah,
い。
she was also really
顔色も
pale.
真っ青だったんです。
Shocked and pale. Did that mean she knew who the killer was? And it was someone she didn't want to be the killer.
やっぱり
So it was me. Or no way.
お前か。
And then I shook my head.
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry.
本当は
I
そ
didn't
こ
be able to
で
help her then.
私
This
が
never
ノ
would
ラ
have
さんの
happened.
力に。
いや、
No,
そ
it's
れ
not
はいい
your
んだ。
fault. I tried my best to keep her from sensing my panic as I slowly asked her another question. For now, I wanted any hint, no matter how small.
ウキ。
Okay, so Caruso watched the video and figured something out, right? And she watched that scene over and over.
Yes, I
多
think
分
so.
そうだ。
それがどのあた
What
りか。
part was it? Oh, you don't know, right?
I'm sorry.
すみません。
She looked down toward the ground. I quickly shook my hand at her.
いや、せめて
No,
言
I'm
葉
not
じゃないん
blaming
だ。
you, just-
そうじゃなくて。
What should I do? What do I ask to get a hint? It's no good. I don't know. Tell me, Caruso. Where's the clue? Come on, tell me.
情けないっすね。
It's so pathetic, senpai.
And then I suddenly heard a voice behind Uki. I looked and saw her playing with her twin tails.
なんすか
What's
そ
with
の
that
顔。
look? You look like you're about
泣
to
きそう
cry.
じゃないですか。
うる
Shut
さ
up.
い。
It's got nothing to
お
do
前
with
に
you.
関係ないだろ。
I yelled at her even though I knew I shouldn't. And Arimura laughed.
関係な
Sure
くない
does.
っす
It's
よ。
almost fourth.
そ
You're the
ろ
one who
そろ
told me to stay by
11月
Uki's
4日に
side.
なるんですけど。
Oh, I'm
そう
sorry.
あと、
And you know, I actually like Cruz Senpai a lot. So you saying that's got nothing to do with me really pissed me off.
だから、
Arimura's face suddenly became serious. And then she yelled.
しっかりし
Get
な
a
さ
hold of
い。
yourself.
そん
You
なに
keep panicking
焦っ
like
て
this,
たら
there's,
気がつ
you're
く
not
も
going
の
to
も
notice
気がつかない
anything,
で
you
しょ
moron.
このバカってクルス
That's
先
what
輩な
Cruz
ら
Senpai
絶対
would say,
に
I
言う
think.
と思います。
有村。
Arimura.
ねえ、ウキ。
Hey, Uki, you said that Cruz Senpai noticed something that shocked her, and then she watched the video again and again, right?
で、その後、
Yes, that's right.
その時って
How's she acting
ど
then?
んな様子だっ
After
た
she
わ
noticed what
け
shocked her.
何かに気づいて
Arimura put her
驚い
hand
た
on
後
Uki's
だ
shoulder
よ
and。started to ask more questions.
She looked very serious. It
ノラ
was
さ
kind
ん
of scary.
すごくうん。
Yeah,
There.
and?
イヤホンに
She
じっ
seemed
と
to listen
耳を
carefully on
澄
her
ませる
headphones as if
感
she
じ
was
で
trying to make something out.
こう、うん。
Yeah.
What? And then I realized I'd missed something very simple.
僕は今ま
What
で
the hell have I been
何をや
doing?
ってたんだ。
Arimura was right. I've been panicking too much because I was so worried about Caruso.
クルスは
Caruso was watching this video yesterday. That's why she and I got into that fight.
それで僕と
But she wasn't wearing headphones then. And the computer had been set to maximum volume. What if that was deliberate?
What
どう
is it,
しました
senpai?
先輩。
Whoops.
あの、
音だ。
Audio.
画像じゃない。
It's not the video, it's
音
something
に
in the
何かがあ
audio.
るんだ。
That's why Caruso had worn headphones and set the sound to maximum.
有村。
Arimura,
とりあえ
just
ず聞
listen
いて
to
く
me.
れ。これ。
I handed her the stereo headset that was connected to the computer. When I saw that she put them on, I set the volume to maximum and pressed play.
申し訳ない。この安売りセールしてい
Gee,
た
that's
傷
sad. That's so really hard.
The sound was so loud she ripped the headphones off her ears. And then she threw them at me.
ちょっと
Are you trying to destroy my
私の
ear?
耳をぶっ壊
だろ。
Right,
普通
that's what
そうなるはずだ。
you would say normally.
当たり前
Of
でしょう
course
が
it is.
That's right, normally you couldn't focus on anything with a sound this loud. In other words, what Caruso had been listening to
音がほとんど
was the
入って
part
な
where
い
there's
部
barely
分。
any sound. I moved the video back to the start and played it at maximum volume.
はい。ではいつも通り3分くらい募集をかけるんで、適当によろです。
Okay, it hurts. The scene with him in front of the computer was too loud to listen to. Come on, I'm streaming right now. Sound got a little better when he left the computer. But it still hurt my max volume. It was hard to imagine her listening to this part over and over again. Tiny disappeared out of frame and I stopped being able to hear what he was saying. This was the part where people thought the killer had come in. But everyone from the police to internet users all over the country had thought it would lead to killer. Been listened to millions of times in all. If it was in this part, someone would have found it already.
この先
I think it gets scary after this part,
確
right?
か
Well,
怖
I'll
い
go
ん
over
です
there.
よね
Let's go, Uki.
でも
Arima pulled Uki way by a hand. Uki turned and looked at me concerned.
ありがとう、ユキ。
Thanks, Uki. I'm okay now.
Oh,
Thank you.
大丈夫だ。
Thank you too, Arimura.
必ずクルス
Make
先
sure you
輩を
find
見
Cruz
つけてく
senpai,
ださい
okay?
ね。
Yeah, don't get
二人も
separated
4
once
日
the
に
sport
なったら
starts,
絶
okay?
対に
Even in the
離れるんだ。
bathroom.
え
何かあったら大
Yell
声
out
で
if
叫
something
べ。
happens. I'll be
す
right
ぐに
there.
行く。
はい、お願い
Okay,
します。
thank you.
期待しないで
Sorry,
待って
but I'm
ま
not
す。
expecting much.
Once I made sure that Arimura and Uki had gone into the dining room, I started to check all the parts with the video with white noise. Not here. Not here either. No, there was nothing here. Or in this scene. What? Oh, nothing here either. No, there was. There's small sounds mixed in with irritating white noise. It's harder than ever than it looked to focus all your nerves on them. My hearing started to fade, and I started to lose my sense of balance. My head felt heavy, and I suddenly had a terrible headache. I grit my teeth and fought through the pain. Caruso had gone through this, and in the end, she found something. I had to do the same thing. And then, I heard a tiny noise. I paused the video without even realizing I'd done so.
今の。
What was that?
あ
I put my finger on the headphone under my right ear and pushed it in deeper so I could hear better. And then I used my left hand to move the video back and press play again.
なんだ
There it is!
この
The Garrow Froggy strap. What is that sound? There's a scene where Utani was cutting what he described as cheese beneath the dim fluorescent lights. In between the sounds of the knife, I could hear something else.
もう一回。
One more time. I played the video again.
この音
I know I've heard this sound before.
確か
I knew that sound. I'd heard it very recently, close to me. I played it again and again. I concentrated everything I had on picking out the tiny sound from amidst the noise. What? I finally realized what it was. Suddenly I felt a cold pillar of ice had been pressed against my spine. No, you could call it sheer terror if you want to. My hands shook and sweat poured out from every pore in my body. I felt like the room was spinning.
嘘
This can't be real, can it?
だろ
It's her.
くそ
Shit! I slammed my hand down on the desk and the pain finally got him to do what I wanted. It took me several tries, but I finally managed to open my Pokecom and power it on. I yanked out the headphone from the PC and plugged an audio cable into my Pokecom.
嘘だ
No. No. I kept screwing it up, but managed to load that scene into an audio editing software. I set the volume to max and put it on repeat. And then I hit play button with my hand still shaking. There it is. The Garrow Froggy strap. You're the culprit. Oh no
こんな
way.
の嘘だ
This can't be real. I slammed the Pokecom down on the floor and called her on my phone. Phone rang and rang. Once, twice, 3 times.
やっぱりクリ
Did
ス
Cruiser know the sound?
この音に気づいて
Ringing. 6 times, 7, 8. It was like she was ignoring me.
ダメだ
No,
って
she's
な
not picking up. I ended the call, and this time I picked up Caruso's number. Tapped the call button. I got the same result.
なんで
Why?
なんでだよ
He kept ignoring me. No matter how long I waited, I couldn't hear Caruso's voice. Damn it all! I hung up the phone and ran out of the room without even knowing where I was going. November 4th, 2015. Wednesday. It's time. The roof was normally a place for students to laugh and talk. But under the cold moonlight, the empty benches seemed silent and sad. Show yourself. Carissa looked at the benches and shivered once more. It wasn't just because of the cold. It's because she realized that this place was truly empty. Of course it was. No one was allowed to be here at this hour. It was an isolated place where the warm light didn't reach. Only the cold light did. No matter what happened here, the rest of the world wouldn't know. It wouldn't exist outside of this place. It almost seems too perfect. It was so perfect for her that it was almost sad, Carissa thought. While Caruso was waiting for her to arrive, she hadn't been thinking about the case. Strangely, she'd been thinking about her family and friends instead. What had she always said to her family before she left to come here in the morning? Did they smile? The younger students who'd helped with the student council's work? The talks she'd had with her classmates about the latest fads? The brief fights in the lunchroom, forgotten as soon as the bell rang to tell them to go back to class? Each time she started to lapse too deep into her memories, a cold wind would blow and pull her back into reality. And then she realized something, with a self-abasing laugh. She knew it. The reason Nono wasn't thinking about the case was because that part of her was sure she already knew everything. If she asked, she would get the fatal answer that would lay bare the truth. And when she finally heard the answer, a strong wind blew, as if to carry away her thoughts, and she closed her eyes for a moment. The culprit. And when she opened them, she heard the sound of a rusty door opening.
Non-chan?
Non-chan?
There you are. Caruso's lips twisted a little when she heard her say that.
Non-chan.
Non-chan, huh? It made her mad to hear herself called that. She felt heat rising from the bottom of her stomach. It was time to begin. I'm really sorry to bring you out here so late. Hey, Noe.
Hmm? Non-chan?
Non-chan?
Did she realize that Caruso was addressing her by her last name now? Or did she sense that something instinctively? Sarika repeated herself, this time with a suspicious look on her face. She tried to get closer, but a glance from Caruso stopped her. Sarika froze. Answer me. Was it you?
何が
Was what me?
Answer me.
ん
Caruso repeated her words to her former best friend, the one person outside her family that she called by first name. But Sarika's expression didn't change. It was the same face Caruso knew so well. The same look that Sarika wore when she brought a crepe and started wondering what was inside. Thinking back, the two of them went shopping together all the time. Noe had insisted that she looked fine without makeup, and Caruso had insisted on buying her some anyway. It had been a lot of fun. And they were always together in the club. She'd argued against Takuru's reckless plans, stopped Kazuki from pounding on the walls, and the two of them were always amazed at the stupid things Ito-kun said. They'd always been laughing together. But now? You're the one at the scene of the first murder, weren't you?
I don't know what you're talking about, Non-chan. Where is this coming from?
さっきから何
There was a sound in the video. A sound I knew very well. An adult look video. She heard that strange sound that Sarika's Garofroggy always made. Sarika had a bad habit of unconsciously fiddling with it whenever she was focusing on something. Kusuke took a step forward to stop herself from falling over, and glared at Sarika with a challenge in her eyes. That's right. Kurusu was glaring at Sarika.
ちょっと
Wait,
なんちゃん
Non-chan.
答えなさいって言
I
ってる
told
で
you
しょ
to answer me. Sarika staggered back at the sound of her loud footsteps. Finally, her expression changed. There was fear in it.
ユイは
Our
私
family
た
lost
ちの家
Yui.
族から消えてしまっ
She's
た
gone, and she's never coming
死ん
back.
でしまったのどうして
Why?
あんなこ
Why
と
did
を
you
した
take her
の
away from us? Sarika stayed quiet, that terrified expression still on her face. Was she really terrified by Caruso? Or was she trying to fool her? Or... Caruso took another step forward.
8年前のあ
On
の日
that day, 8 years ago,
あの病院の
did you
地下
really
に
go down to that
あな
hospital
たはい
basement?
たの
Were you really there with
一緒に
Takuro?
答えられ
You
ないわ
can't
よ
answer me,
ね
can you?
だって
Because you weren't actually there.
あなたは絶
I
対
know
に
that
あ
better
そこ
than
にはい
anyone.
なかったものそれじゃ
So who are you?
あなたは一体誰
Caruso's question was something she'd wondered about ever since Inoue had said she'd gone to that basement with him. It was the one last thing she'd been unsure of, but she kept quiet about to protect her own secret. Until a little while ago, it seemed like it didn't matter. She was willing to go her whole life without finding out. Because Inoue Serika was someone she loved. But now... Tell me, who are you? I think we already know your real name, if it's what I think it is. Ain't that right, Sari? But Serika said nothing. Not a word. Did she really not know anything? The thought crossed her mind for a moment, but she quickly kicked it away. That was just what she wanted to believe. She had suspicions about Serika for a long time, but she ignored them because she was too afraid to ask. And the result of that had been Yui's death. Kurusu raised her hands and brought them together as if offering up a prayer. In the next moment... What?! She brought them down, hard and straight, as a swinging a sword. You have a D-sword! Serika moved back just a little. Her movement might have looked a little like pure reflex, but Kurusu didn't miss it. Which meant... So, I was right, huh? That was the answer to everything. So that was it, huh? Serika's face became blank and expressionless. She didn't frown or sigh at her own failure. Her manner became that of a beautiful doll. Serika! She was right. She'd been ready for it, but she still couldn't help but cry. She tried to stop herself. She gritted her teeth. But Serika's gaze wasn't fixed on her anymore. She stood, legs apart, as if judging the distance between herself and the thing and the seemingly empty space between them. No question about it. She could see what Kurusu was holding. And now it was Serika's turn to look into her eyes. Her eyes were different than Kurusu had ever seen before, as if they saw everything. No, that's not right. Suddenly Kurusu realized it wasn't just a smile. Her eyes really did see everything. It was telepathy. A terrible, twisted power which could expose all of your most treasured secrets. Telepathy. Kurusu heard the sound of herself clenching her jaw. And then she forgot the tears and turned herself over to the rage that was boiling within her. Another D-sword. It had been 6 years since she rebooted it, and it was almost sad how easily it came into her hand. So you were lying too. A D-sword. A monstrous blade that only those with the power to transform delusions into reality could wield. She refused to look away from the light that she never wanted to see again as she pointed the blade at her opponent. You were the one using Misawa Senri, weren't you? I don't want to hear that from you, of all people, Kurusu no. Her voice made Kurusu shiver. There it is. And a blade even more wicked than her voice appeared in Serika's hand, opening it like a blooming, poisonous flower. It was beautiful. For a moment, Kurusu was blinded by the beauty of the weapon. She forgot that it threatened to cut her into soft flesh. You. Serika leapt off the ground. She closed the distance between them in an instant. Kurusu brought down her own sword as hard as she could, without even time to follow her movements. And as she screamed, I'm sorry, she heard her own voice. By the time she realized she was talking to Tucker, it was already too late. The light flashed in front of her as if driving the thought from her mind. Why, Serika? The same thought kept going through my head like I was an idiot. I couldn't think straight. Why? What was she doing in a merge scene?
Damn it. Saliva caught in my throat as I moaned in pain. It took a lot of effort to keep myself from falling over. Damn it, I don't have any time to waste here. Huh? I stopped when I heard a sound. I was in front of a familiar place, but it wasn't the one I was heading to. I was on my way from Alba Dorm to Sarah's condo in Daikanyama. What was that? I saw something strange in the corner of my eye and looked up at the school building. The school at night was an imposing sight. And on top, I could see a feeble light like a fluorescent bulb that was about to burn out. I started to run, dragging my feet forward as I went. I raced up the stairs of the building without even bothering to take off my shoes. The lights in the yard illuminated my face with certain rhythm as I ran. But that light was something different. A strange, dull light. That was the light of a D-sword. I made it to the top and slammed the door open. I yanked it open, trying my best not to think what I'd find beyond. The first thing I saw wasn't the light of the D-sword, but instead the red. My heart beat loudly, once, and then all was silence. I didn't feel anything at all. It was as if I'd been completely frozen at what I saw. She was laying on the ground in front of me. Her clothes were red. Someone was in front of her looking over their shoulder at me. No, not someone. I knew her, but she looked different than I'd ever seen before. And a deadly weapon in her hands made me shiver. And that weapon was deeply, deeply. A strong wind blew toward the open door. It was as if someone was trying to push me back in. As if they were trying to get me away from the threat in front of me. She'll kill you too. Run away, now. Was the voice I heard an illusion? Or was it the voice of the person I cared about, who was now lying on the floor? Suddenly all the sound disappeared. My head hurt like hell. I ignored it. All the doubts I'd had, all the feelings that told me it was a lie, I left them all behind. Behind? It was only when I saw that the distance between us was closing rapidly that I'd realized I'd started running. A meaningless scream poured from my throat. I could tell from the way my throat was vibrating, but I couldn't hear the sound at all. I kept running, but everything seemed to be passing me by in slow motion. I felt a pulsing in my brain. My hand reached out for nothing at all. Until now, I'd never been able to touch it, but now I could easily grab it. What was I touching? What was I holding? Some fragment of useless rationality was still within me, asking me these stupid questions. I'm holding the thing that's going to slice her apart. My own delusions would have manifested the real booting. A twisted blade that weighed nothing at all. When I swung my D-sword, it was more than close enough to hit her. She had already turned around and raised her D-sword from up from below. Why does she have a sword too? I didn't know. Before I could think about it, I brought down my weapon with all my might. Sarah blocked it without making a sound. No, that wasn't right. My D-sword stopped before she could block it. Right before it would hit her. What's wrong? I heard a voice I never heard before. I saw a look I'd never seen before. I couldn't move. She hadn't done anything to me. There was no mind control. I was the one in control. But my hands had stopped as if they'd struck an invisible wall. Why? Why?
You're not going to do it.
Why can't I move? Why won't my arms, my legs? My feelings caught up to me. My reason came back. And my heart finally started to scream. This can't be happening. It can't. Why would Sarah could do this? There's no way this can be real. The pounding headache I'd forgotten came back, and I fell on my knees. My head felt like it was going to split in half. I grabbed it with both hands. At some point, my D-sword disappeared. The will that I tried to strike Serica with was already gone. I dug my nails in and closed my eyes. I could feel the veins in my forehead pulsing with my hands. I felt something sticky on my knees. And I smelled a mild perfume. It was just like before when my little sister had been killed and ripped apart. Again. This is happening again. It's the blood of someone who was every bit as important to me as my little sister. Cruz or no. Who did this? Who was the one that attacked her with the blade and cold eyes? No! I'm telling you, it can't be a no way! I tried to use my rage to drive that thought away, but I couldn't. Caruso. I heard a wordless voice. I forced my eyes to open. Sarah was already gone. I looked around with blurry eyes, but there was no light from her D-sword and no sign of her at all. I crawled over to Caruso. Caruso! She was crying. Large tears fell from her vacant eyes. Her chest was stained red, and each time she breathed, more blood came out. Caruso! I pushed my hands up against her wound. But despite how hard I tried to close up the wound, more and more dark, sticky liquid just kept pouring out, staining my hands red. Somebody! Somebody! I don't know what to do. How do I save her? She's going to suffocate. As she started to cough, I put my hand behind her head and quickly turned it to the side. Blood poured from her mouth and fell into the ground. Don't talk. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. Okay. How is this okay? She's bleeding so much. She's in so much pain. Why is this happening? I told you not to talk. Crusoe's face twisted and she started to cry again. And then... Huh? She suddenly grabbed my hand that was on her chest. And her grip was so weak. In that moment I felt an indescribable chill in my heart. Come on, grab tighter. Be stronger. It's like you're going to die. Her breathing was getting so shallow that she couldn't even speak. But she tried to grab my hand and bring it next to her head. No, I need to keep the boot closed. But it looks like she just shook her head, just a little. Then she slowly brought my hand up to her face and put it to her lips. The red from my fingers clung to her purple lips and shone like beautiful gloss. No. The sensation on my fingers was soft but terribly cold. And that's when I knew. Yeah. She's going to die after all. No, this can't happen. It can't. I'm sorry. Her hand moved away from mine and fell to the ground. No. The name fell from my lips. It was the first time I'd said it in half a year. Hey. No. It was the name of my big sister who'd always protected me. Wake up, No. I lifted her chest and held her tightly in my arms, but she didn't move at all. Why? How is this happening? No. I said her name again and again, knowing that from now on she would never answer me. At some point, midnight had passed, and it was November 4th. The last of the Return of New Generation Madness murders had occurred right before my very eyes. We have just received an extremely unusual announcement from the police. It is a warrant for the arrest of a minor, issued under their real name. The announcement says that as of 12:30 a.m. today, November 4th, the police have issued a warrant for a person of interest in a series of murders that occurred in Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. This is a national arrest warrant from Miyashiro Takaru-kun, a third-year student at Hekiko Academy. I repeat. I lost my balance and fell over. I couldn't use my hands to break my fall, so a sharp pain raced through my shoulder instead. Some ash has gone to my mouth too. I tried to get up, but the weight and warmth of my back wouldn't let me. Sarika hadn't woken up for a while. She was still breathing. I could feel the beating of her heart. She was fine. I could taste blood as well as ash. I must have cut my lip when I fell. Damn it. I somehow managed to stand up without dropping Sarika, cursing as I did so. I couldn't just keep lying on the ground there. My goal, H Tokyo General Hospital in Yoyogi, was a long ways away. It's fine. I would get there no matter what. Neither Sarika nor I were going to die here. Hey, this way! Come on! Huh? I saw people crowding around what used to be a store. I heard what sounded like someone calling for help, and someone else saying they brought water from a broken vending machine. It was evidently being used as a temporary shelter. Should I stop by? I was thirsty. I wanted water. No, I couldn't. That wasn't my priority. I knew that. I had lots of scrapes and small cuts, but none of my wounds are fatal. In an emergency like this, the most important thing wasn't food or water. It was finding a safe place. I learned that on the internet one time. And since I didn't know what was wrong with Sarika, she needed a specialist to look at her. There was no telling what might happen here in Shibuya. It's better to head over to H Tokyo General Hospital in Yoyogi. That's right. I'm a right sir. And that makes me better than the wrong sirs who are staying here. I ignored them and passed by. I licked the back of my cuspids so my body would make more saliva and I'd feel less thirsty. That was another trick I'd learned. I wasn't ignorant like the rest of these people. It is okay. Okay, press down here. Something seemed strange. I suddenly realized that I recognized some voices from the shelter. Oh. I looked and saw that they belonged to my classmates. I almost never went to school, but I vaguely recognized a few members of the group. There was an adult woman laying on the ground in between them. There was blood coming from her stomach and her head. My heart skipped a beat. I just barely managed to stop myself from falling over. Why? My classmates seemed to be trying to save her. They were each taking turns holding down her injuries, not caring that their hands would be covered with blood. Why? Why are you doing that? All you ever do is talk about stupid crap and you never listen to me. Why aren't you panicking? You guys don't know anything, right? About priorities or cuspids? Why aren't you screaming? Why aren't you running away? Why are you so calm? You never did anything useful with your time. You can't even use the internet. All your information is low quality. Miyashiro! Is that you, Miyashiro? One of them saw me and ran over. Then he started asking me a lot of questions. Are you alright? Do you have any water? Can't you help us? Each new question came before I had a chance to answer the last one. I knew his face, but I didn't know his name. So how did he know my name? How could he remember it at a time like this? Why? The word got stuck in my throat and I couldn't get it out. I didn't even know what I was trying to ask. Isn't it obvious? Are you saying we should just let her die? I didn't know how he'd interpreted my response, but he suddenly started yelling. And then he grabbed my arm and told me to come with him. Wait. The one's hurt. I have to save her. No, I have to get to H Tokyo General Hospital. I saw lots of injured people on the way there. That's right. This place is dangerous. My top priority is finding someplace safe. That's what my information told me.
No matter how hard he pulled, I didn't move. Nothing moved, actually. I felt like I was outside my body, watching him pull it. Why can't I move? Am I scared? Of course I'm scared. If she's hurt, then I should just help her. Just like my classmates are. Wait, I'm not like them, right? I'm a right-sider. No, they're doing the right thing. I should help them. What should I do? Forget it, you're a useless piece of shit. Get lost. He spelled those words as he let go of my arm. He ran back to his friends, and they all started to take turns pressing down on our injuries again. He whispered something to them, and they all looked at me for a moment. There was disgust in their eyes. Their eyes said more than words ever could. I hope I never end up like him, they said. The next thing I knew, I was running. Not because I had to get to the hospital, but because I wanted to get away from them. I can't stop that barking, sorry. I don't remember where I ran. Each time someone lying on the ground begged me for help, I ran faster and in a different direction. I closed my eyes so I couldn't see anything, then tripped. I held my ears so I couldn't hear anything. My body was shaking. I felt coldness pressing in from all around me, the likes of which I'd never felt before. Why am I running? I'm a right-sider. While they were busy learning about useless nonsense at school, I spent my time looking up worthwhile information and becoming smarter than them. I should be the one looking down on them. That's right. That's right. I know all kinds of things they don't. Are they treating her injuries right? Are they doing it in the right order? I should go back and tell them what to do. I'm sure that I can make the right decisions. Takeru? I was very surprised when I saw who had just spoken to me. It was my mom and dad.
What are you doing here?
Only then did I realize where I was. It was a shelter outside H Tokyo General Hospital. I made it.
It doesn't matter. Let's go. This hospital's no good.
Dad motioned to Mom and I to keep moving.
Why? Someone just said this place was safe.
They're overloaded, and anyway, we need to get further away. There's no telling when the aftershocks will hit. Looks like there really isn't much damage to the north. The company building is close. Let's use the car there.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Tucker, what are you doing? Hurry!
When she grabbed my arm, the sensation from earlier came back, and I shook her off.
Tucker, what are you doing? Don't start causing problems again. You're saved.
Saved? I'm saved.
Just come with me.
Mom screamed and pulled me along behind her as she followed Dad. I went too, my legs moving as if they weren't my own. Saved? Saved from what? The hell I just saw? Now I'm being saved from it? By people who've never even cared about me before. Suddenly I felt a very sharp pain in my head. I shook off her arm. My mom was screaming, but I didn't know what she said. I couldn't hear her. My head hurt and I didn't know why. My vision started to blur and I could feel my body starting to go numb. My nails were now digging into my skull, but I couldn't feel them. I tried my hardest to think through the pain. Saved? Me? Why? You people have always neglected me, but now you're going to save me. Why? You two just happened to find me here, which means you were about to leave me behind, weren't you? You ignored me for so long and now you're going to save me? And I'm supposed to accept that? The pain shot through my temples like I was being stabbed with something sharp. No. No. That wasn't what you were supposed to say. This isn't what was supposed to happen to me. This isn't the information I'm supposed to get. All the wrong siders in my class are doing the right thing and looking down on me.
I'm right, sir. I'm the person who's supposed to know what to do when everything goes wrong. I'm not like those preying jackasses online. I actually went on a dangerous venture, and they looked at me like I was less valuable than some random meme and joke site. And now you people are going to save me? You the people who just gave me 1,000 yen instead of taking me out on dinner on my birthday. Hell no. I'm not the kind of person who just gets saved by parents who don't even want him. Shut up, you just think I'm in the way, don't you? I think the same thing, you're in my way. Just what do I do? What do I want to do? Why am I here? I suddenly thought of my childhood friend who was supposed to be on my back. That's right, where's Serica? I only now remember that I originally came here to save Serica, but I couldn't feel her on my back through the pain in my head. That's right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm saving her life. Serica will understand. She always tells me what I'm doing is right. She always understands what I have to do. She always on my side. The pain went beyond my capacity to endure it. Suddenly my whole field of vision went white. Shut up. You people should just go away forever. No! Serica, save me. Please, please. No, please give me. Chapter 10. Serica Onoe. Her intentions.
依然として重要参考人である宮代拓
The pain. It deepens.
I need a second to breathe.
But I think we're going to go ahead and end it here for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And hope to see you all later. Peace.